Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto takes only kushina inheritance. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Evergreen and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Michiko Masaru was a man without any aims. He was an A-class ninja, a seal master, one of Iwa's top nin. When he became a ninja it was to protect his village. Then his priorities changed with the arrival of his beautiful wife Kasumi. He loved her more than anything. She meant the world to him, and that world was shattered by the one and only Minato Namikaze, the hailed yellow flash of Konoha. She died along with his brother Masako, at the hands of the Namikaze. He understands why the man did it. It was a war and he had to fight for his village. Masaru would have done the same in his place, but he couldn't help but resent the man. When the news of the man's death reached him, he, unlike the rest of IWA, didn't feel gleeful. Instead he felt oddly insignificant. His will to live had vanished. He wanted to kill Namikaze himself. He wanted to see Konoha fall because of himself. He couldn't live like this anymore, so he left IWA and became a missing nin. On the run, he visited many places, fought many battles, killed every Konoha nin he could, but it wasn't enough. He was in Suna, when he met the young Jinchurikigara of the desert. A thought snuck up on his brain and he couldn't believe that he never thought of this before. Minato Namikaze was a great man, but he was still a man. There is no way, no matter how strong he had been, he could kill a Biju, much less the lord of all Bijus himself. That meant Konoha had a Jinchuriki. He felt an almost overwhelming urge to meet the child that Namikaze had chosen as sacrifice. Sneaking into Konoha was hard but not impossible, especially with his talents in seals. A henge backed by a seal was enough to get him pass. It wasn't hard to find the kid either, just had to follow the glares. The first time he saw the 3-year-old kid he thought he was imagining things. That noble-hearted Namikaze, using his own son as a sacrifice. And in Uzumaki too. Guessed the romantic stories of the yellow flash, and the red-hot habanero was not entirely wrong. The boy was the perfect mix of Namikaze and Uzumaki. The golden blonde hair and ocean blue eyes were purely Namikaze. But the boy's personality was much like his cocky and reckless mother, who Masaru had the pleasure of meeting a few times in the battlefield. Masaru sneered at the way the civilians treat the young blonde. Fools despising the one they should worship. He needed to take a look at the seal that held the Kyuubi at bay, Minato Namikaze's last work. He got the chance he waited for, posing as a doctor during one of Naruto's checkups. One look was all he needed. After that he copied the seal into a scroll and studied it. A wonderful piece of work, the 8-trigram divination seal powered by the Shinigami, a complex Uzumaki seal. He only recognized it because he had studied Uzumaki seals for a long time. He tried but failed to fully comprehend the seal, such was the complexity of the seal. A few things were clear though. The seal allowed the fox's chakra to enter the boy in small amounts to increase the boy's immunity to the demon chakra. It was also made to allow large amounts of demon chakra to be called upon at occasions. So Namikaze wanted his son to be a weapon for the village, a village that despised the boy. Namikaze had added fail-safes to the seal, though he didn't fully understand how they would stop the Biju if anything went wrong. There was also the little fact that if Naruto dies, Kyuubi dies along with him. That Namikaze had sacrificed everything for Konoha. A brave and noble man. But now it was time to plan Konoha's destruction. This seal was Namikaze's greatest work and he wanted to destroy it. Konoha would end, and by their own hands no less. It took 3 more years of careful planning and hard work to complete his self-appointed mission. He fooled the Konoha nin for so long, disguising as an old traveler who finally wished to settle down. It was not hard to fool the civilian council into permitting him to stay. He carefully avoided shinobis altogether. By the end of the 3 long years he had all the data he needed and had finished the special seal he was creating. He had made sure that what he was about to do will not be countered by the boy's seal's fail-safes. It took 3 long years, but it was worth it. But even now, after 3 years of attempts, he still cannot fully understand the 8-trigram seal. He had learned about the yearly beatings Naruto Uzumaki received on his birthdays, the Kyuubi festival, and the occasional drunks who would lose sense and attack the boy. The time of the festival was the best day for the attack, with the constant crowd and noise drowning out the boy's cries and avoiding detection by the Hokage's Anbu. Ever since a particularly nasty incident when the boy had almost been raped by vengeful villagers on his 4th birthday, the Hokage had an entire Anbu team guarding the boy on the month of his birthday. That incident was what made Masaru make his final decision. He tolerated many things, but child molesters were downright disgusting. The bastards deserved what was coming to them. Since they could no longer attack the boy on the festival, the villagers had started to become more aggressive towards the boy on other occasions as well. But there always was at least one Anbu keeping watch of the boy. But even some of the Anbu resent the boy. Fools! The boy was 7 years old now and had joined the academy last year. His batch mates were all a year older than him. The boy wanted to join early. The Hokage probably agreed because he wanted the boy out of the civilian council's hands. That won't matter anymore. He killed the boy's Anbu guard and impersonated him. Then he made plans with the leader of the group that held a grudge towards the young boy. He gave them a place and time for attack and also told them that he can prevent the demon's chakra from healing the boy. He laid carefully made seals around the area of the incident, so that his plan will not be interrupted. It was a place the boy often passed through. Konoha's end was close. Naruto walked through the silent street, not wearing a silly smile like he usually did in front of others. He had taken the shortcut he often took to go home. As much as he loved attention, being around a lot of people made him very nervous. Maybe it was the results of all the abuse he took. He was thinking about the academy. If he kept up like this, he would surely fail to pass the academy. But there was nothing he could do without no one to help him. None of the academy instructors are happy to be even in his presence. He knew they hated him, but he didn't know why. He had a few theories, and all of them ended with the QB. There has to be a reason they call him QB brat when they believe he doesn't hear. He thought that acting like a clown would at least cause them to smile at him. He just couldn't take the hatred anymore. Annoyance was much better than hatred. Naruto sighed. He was tired. The thought of walking into an empty apartment didn't lift his mood. He can go to Ichiraka, that would definitely lift his mood. Suddenly he felt his instincts scream at him, but couldn't do anything as he was grabbed of the street and pulled into the alleyway. Darkness engulfed him before he could even make a sound. The mob of villagers sneered at the unconscious blonde in the arms of the Umbu. There were about 20 people present. Most of the villagers no longer hated the boy, instead they simply ignored him. So even though they knew of the mob, none actually bothered to join or save the boy. Those who still loathed the boy with a passion believed that the demon was corrupting everyone. That was when a golden chance was presented to them by the very Umbu who was supposed to protect the boy. The demon will end today and Konoha will be saved. Masaru, disguised as the Umbu, stared at the group of villagers, his frown and disgust hidden behind the rat mask. He looked at the boy in his arm, so innocent, so small and so pure. His heart clenched. Soon the boy will be free of all the hatred. He laid the boy down on the cement pavement. The self-proclaimed avengers of Konoha seemed thrilled. What all they planned to do to the boy? The thought made Masaru sick, but he said nothing as he lifted the boy's white shirt and exposed his stomach. He applied a little chakra so that the seal became visible. Masaru heard some gasps. He took a pre-made seal and stuck it to the boy's seal, then went through the necessary seals before slamming his palm on the boy's stomach. He watched in fascination as his seal spread over the boy's seal and disappeared. He smiled grimly when he saw that the 8 trigram seal had changed in the desired way. The boy's face contorted in pain, but he did not move. The villagers were watching impatiently. Masaru touched the boy's forehead and his hands glowed briefly. Now the boy was successfully trapped in his own mind. It was a mercy, so that the boy did not feel anything these scum decided to do to him. Masaru stood up and turned to look at the villagers. It is done. The demon chakra will no longer heal him. I have shielded the area using seals, so you will have time to do the job and leave without detection. You sure? It's still only 4 in the evening, one of the bastards said. No one will enter this area for half an hour maximum. The seals will keep them away. Don't waste time. Masaru sent the boy one last look before moving to leave. Hey, you don't want a chance for revenge? Someone asked gleefully. No. I will be keeping watch. And with that, Masaru left the boy in the hands of those demons. Masaru entered his apartment. He had very little time to make his escape. Everything was already prepared. He took the scroll containing all his belongings and removed the carpet on the floor. A massive seal became visible. A teleportation seal. Although the chakra wastage was large, he didn't have time for anything else. He stood in the middle of the seal and with a surge of chakra, he vanished. Half an hour later, Hokage-sama, Naruto Uzumaki has been attacked. An Umbu wearing a cat mask appeared before the Hokage and spoke. Sandame Hokage. Hiruzen Sarutobi jumped out of his chair and slammed his fist down on the table in rage. Hiruzen was furious and worried. Before anything else could be spoken, a malicious chakra filled the atmosphere. The Hokage's eyes widened as he felt a chill run down his spine. This is the Kyuubi's chakra. Did the seal break? Another Umbu appeared before Hiruzen. Hokage-sama, the seal is. Hiruzen was gone even before the Umbu finished. The Sandame Hokage shunshined to the hospital. The civilians all around were running frantically. Even they could feel the oppressing aura of Kyuubi. The ninjas were trying to keep the civilians calm. The Hokage reached room from where the red chakra was raging. Medics and ninjas were standing at the corner of the hallway. The patients all have already been evacuated. Red chakra was lashing out in the form of tendrils, not allowing anyone to enter the room. An Umbu appeared near the Hokage. Hokage-sama, what is the situation, Sparrow? Hokage asked seriously. We found the boy in alleyway being attacked by a mob. And what about his guard? Hokage asked with narrowed eyes. He is missing, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi resisted the urge to growl. The Umbu continued. The Kyuubi's chakra wasn't healing the boy. The wounds were critical. We brought him to the hospital immediately. The medics were treating him when the first chakra explosion occurred. It wasn't large enough to be sensed from long distances. It was not harmful as well. The Sandame raised an eyebrow at this. Moments later we felt the Kyuubi's chakra being released in huge amounts. The medics were thrown out of the room by the red chakra. None of us have been able to enter the room ever since. The Sandame observed the red chakra that was taking the form of 3 tails and lashing out from the room. There was only one explanation. The seal was breaking. He tried taking a step forward, but the chakra lashed out at the old Kage. Hiruzen jumped back, avoiding the chakra tail. Suppressing the chakra was impossible without getting near the boy, and at the moment that too was impossible. But since a QB5 Naruto wasn't rampaging the village, they can safely assume that he wasn't possessed yet. Damn it! They need Jiraiya right now. Hiruzen felt sweat drip down his face as a fourth and fifth chakra tail was formed. Hawk! Hiruzen called out. They mentioned Umbu commander appeared before the Hokage. Evacuate the hospital of all personals. Prepare to set up barrier seals around the hospital. Send a team to retrieve Jiraiya immediately. Yes, Hokage-sama. But right then something else happened. The chakra tails waned and was suddenly pulled back inside the room forcefully by a snowy white chain. Everyone present watched fascinated as the chain tried to suppress the red chakra. Even more surprising was the fact that the tails seemed to flinch away from the chain as if touching the chain hurt them. Another chain joined the fray, then another, and two more appeared suddenly. The 5 chains wrapped around the 5 tails and pulled back. There was a brief fight for dominance. Finally the red chakra seemed to completely dissipate. Everyone present was amazed. Soon both chakras had vanished. Hawk moved towards the room, keeping his senses open for any nasty surprises. Once he was sure everything was fine, he nodded towards the Hokage. As soon as he did, the old man rushed past Hawk towards the room. Inside, the room was completely devastated. The walls were charred and every single piece of cloth was ashes. And near a collapsed wall in a melting bed lay a naked 7-year-old boy. Golden blonde hair and 3 whisker-like scars on each cheek. His eyes were closed, eyebrows furrowed as if in pain, which Hiruzen guessed that the boy was. There was not even a single scratch on the boy. He looked perfectly fine if not for the pained expression. The old Kage lifted the boy into his arms and cradled the young boy, covering the boy with his own robes. Hiruzen noticed that the boy seemed healthier. He now looked like his age and not like some malnourished street rat. He was definitely heavier but still light for his age. He seemed to have grown an inch or 2 in height as well. Cat, find Hyuga Akemi and bring her to my office. With that, Hiruzen vanished in a shunshin, taking Naruto with him. Head of the hospital, Hyuga Akemi stood in front of the Sandaime Hokage. She had light brown curly hair reaching mid-back that was in a ponytail and pupil-less silver eyes. Hokage-sama. Akemi bowed. Hyuga-san, tell me what happened at the hospital after the Umbu bought Naruto-kun in. Hiruzen asked. When the Umbu bought the boy in, we almost thought the boy was already dead. The damage done was quite severe. We would have lost the child, especially without the QB's healing. But then something happened. One moment that he was dying and then the next that he was good as new. Instant regeneration, that's all I could say. The Hokage's eyes widened. Akemi continued. We were all stunned but thought that it was the QB's power. And it wasn't? Akemi shook her head. The healing was the result of some other chakra. Definitely not the QB's. You are sure? Hiruzen asked, already having witnessed the white chakra chains. The chakra was white, pure white like the snow. Nothing like the QB's red chakra. It felt so pure, calming, and almost divine. Hiruzen was not sure what to think of this situation. Could it be some bloodline? Kushina had such a bloodline, but although the chains are similar, the chakra was entirely different. Akemi continued her report. The white chakra was the first one that exploded outward. But it didn't harm any of us. It was miraculous. That chakra healed almost every patient in this floor, and Hiruzen thought he couldn't be more surprised. Instant regeneration didn't seem so far-fetched at that moment. That's when everything went to hell. The white chakra receded into him. I used Byakugan to check on him. Hokage-sama, the boy has 4 chakra pathways. Hiruzen felt numb. He already knew of Naruto's 3 chakra pathways, but where did this 4th one come from? Continue, Akemi-san. Hiruzen said, preparing himself for the next bomb. One pathway filled with his natural blue chakra. The next one contained the QB's chakra. The next one contained his chakra mixed with the QB's in small amounts, but still more potent. These 3 pathways had already been there since the boy activated his chakra. The last and most recent, since I know that he didn't have such a pathway when they bought in the boy last week, is the one with the white chakra. And surprisingly, it is the largest of the 4 pathways, and is still growing. Last time I checked, it was mid-jonin level reserves, but at the rate it keeps expanding, I won't be surprised if it reached Umbu level by now. What more can you inform me about this white chakra, Akemi-san, besides its healing abilities? It is really dense, similar to Kushina's chakra, and really potent, similar to Sage chakra. Its development rate is frightening. It also seems to be opposing the QB's chakra. There is a struggle for dominance between both chakras and the white chakra is winning. Akemi said. Is that a good thing or bad thing? The Hokage asked, worried. I am not sure. I am very worried for Naruto-kun. Akemi said. She was a close friend of both Kushina and Minato. She was Kushina's teammate. She along with Kushina and Minato had made Chunin together. She separated from them only when she started her medic nin training. Even then, they kept in touch. She had been on a mission on the day of the QB attack. She never got to even say goodbye to her friends at their funeral because she had been incapacitated due to her mission. Akemi had tried to adopt the boy, but the council did not let her because of her clan status. She can understand that they didn't want any clan abusing the QB's power, but that did not deter her from helping the boy whenever she could. She was the reason that none of the hospital staffs who treated the boy wrongly never continued at the hospital. The old Hokage nodded sadly. Naruto-kun is at the infirmary inside the Umbu facility. The guards will let you in. You are free to go check on him. I know you want to. I am handing over his treatment to you. You will lead the medic team at the infirmary taking care of Naruto-kun. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Akemi bowed to the Hokage and left the office. As soon as Akemi left, a dog-masked Umbu appeared before the Hokage. Dog report. We found the body of Naruto-kun's missing guard, Hokage-sama. Medics say he died 3 days ago. He was murdered using a katana. His body was found buried. The Hokage frowned thoughtfully. Hokage-sama, the criminal is at least an A-ranked ninja. Had we not been looking for the guard specifically, we would not have found the body in a long time. He also managed to avoid detection for 3 days and maybe longer posing as the guard. The civilians who had attacked the boy said that it was a ninja who persuaded them into purging the demon that controlled their Hokage. Everything was pre-planned, Hokage-sama. We also found seals surrounding the area of the attack, preventing any detection of the attack by the patrolling Umbu. The seals were high quality and not manufactured by any of our seal makers. The seals seem to be custom made, which can only mean that the culprit is well versed with seals. The Sandame's frown deepened. This was bad. Why would an outsider have anything against Naruto-kun, going to such great lengths to get the boy killed, that too by the hands of the villagers itself? If she was as skilled as they believe, it would have been easy for him to just kill Naruto-kun and be done with it. And the seals, things were getting more and more complicated. He needed to check the QB's seal just to be sure. There was an urgent knock on the door. Then the door was almost smashed open by Marino Ibiki, head of Interrogation and Torture Department. Ibiki didn't bow or waste time with any formalities. Hokage-sama, the QB seal has been tampered with. The Hokage shot out of his chair. What? This could be really bad. The villagers I was interrogating, they said that the Umbu who helped them altered the QB seal right before the beating began. The Umbu had told the villagers that he was adjusting the seal so that the demon won't be able to use its chakra to heal itself afterwards. Dog, come with me. Ibiki, get anything more you can get out of the civilians. With that, Sandame and the dog Umbu vanished in a shunshin. The Hokage and Umbu appeared inside the Umbu infirmary. Hyuga Akemi stood with a look of anguish on her face. She was gazing at Naruto, who was thrashing in his bed in pain. Silent tears streamed down her face. Hiruzen couldn't stand to look at the suffering boy. Hyuga-san, what is going on with Naruto-kun? Hiruzen asked the medic. He is dying, Hokage-sama, was the pained reply. Chapter 2. Hiruzen, Sarutobi, Akemi, Hyuga and a certain dog-masked Umbu sat in the Hokage's office. No one spoke a word, a depressing aura suffocating them in the light of the recent discoveries. Akemi's had no tears left to cry. She didn't care that she was a kunoichi, she just couldn't stop. There has to be a way. Something, anything we could do to help him, Hokage-sama. Akemi was desperate. Naruto cannot die. Maybe Tsunade-sama. Dog trailed off. I have already sent Umbu to find her. But we can only hope that they find her in time. When will Jiraiya-sama get here? Akemi asked, reigning over her agony. I am already here. A voice announced from the windowsill. They all looked over to the white-haired pervert sitting on the windowsill. Jiraiya noted the melancholy air and a spark of fear coiled in his chest, but he appeared nonchalant. Jiraiya, I need you to check Naruto-kun's seal. Someone has tampered with the seal. Hiruzen said. The chance that Naruto will survive even if they fix the seal is low, but they weren't willing to give up hope. Naruto was their little sunshine. How is he? Jiraiya asked, worried about his godson, barely alive. The emotionless whisper from Akemi startled Jiraiya. I am sure that once we fix the seal he will be fine. After all, it's our Gaki we are talking about. He's too stubborn to die. Jiraiya said with conviction. Even though they knew the chances were slim, at that moment they all believed Jiraiya. Jiraiya stared horrified at the seal laid before him. This can't be happening. He realized what exactly that bastard had done the moment he saw the changes in the seal. He read Naruto's medical reports as well. This is bad. Konoha is in deep shit. He wouldn't have cared if only those ignorant fools died, but everyone will pay for the actions of one mad genius, and some fools. There is only one way out of this situation, but no matter what he does, his Gaki was a lost cause. The utter pain in his heart stunned Jiraiya. Where is Sensei? Jiraiya asked the dog Umbu standing beside him. In a council meeting. I will inform him you need to talk with him. The expression on Jiraiya's face told him that the matter is urgent, but Jiraiya stopped him before he could go. No. Those bastards in the council should hear this. Jiraiya, followed by Dog, entered the council chambers solemnly. Dog didn't know what was going on, but he could feel the dread pooling in his stomach already. It is not safe to keep the boy alive if the seal has a chance of breaking. One of the civilian council members shouted. Yes. We of the council call for the execution of the demon for the safety of Konoha. A smug merchant said. The killer intent flowing out of Hiruzen made the entire council quiver. Hokage-sama, there is no use in intimidating us. We speak for the safety of Konoha. That dem b-boy is a danger. A brave member of the civilian council spoke. But before the Hokage could reply to the fool, Jiraiya made his presence known. That boy is the only thing keeping all of us alive right now. The cold tone surprised everyone. What are you saying, Jiraiya-sama? Shikaka asked, frowning. The moment Naruto dies, the QB will be free once again. The entire hall was wide-eyed. A fool scoffed, "We heard for years about how the boy is keeping us safe from the QB. This is nothing more than a ploy to keep the boy alive." Some others agreed. The clan head stared at the fool who had the nerve to speak to Jiraiya like that. But to everyone's surprise, Jiraiya chuckled. "Is that so? Well, if you are telling the truth, Jiraiya-sama, then we should be happy that the boy is alive then." A much more sensible civilian said. "Not for long," Jiraiya said solemnly. "What are you speaking of, Jiraiya?" Danzo asked. "The boy won't be alive for long. Within the next 10 hours we will have a dead Jinchuriki and a rampaging demon at our hands." At first silence, then panicked cries and yells followed his words. "Silence, everything stilled as the Hokage said that." Jiraiya explained the situation, so that we may come to a logical decision. There's nothing to explain. Naruto is dying. The maximum life he has left is about 10 hours. And as soon as the boy dies, Kyuubi will be released. If you need to know further about the boy's condition, ask Hyuga Akemi-san. As soon as the words left his mouth, Hyuga Akemi was brought in by several umbu. "Hyuga-san, explain the boy's condition," Koharu ordered. Akemi ignored her completely and looked at her Hokage. Only when he gave permission did she begin speaking. "Uzumaki Naruto was severely injured during the attack this evening. The Kyuubi's chakra did not heal the boy for some reason, but he was healed by the white chakra the boy activated. It may be a bloodline activated when a near-death situation was created." She heard a few gasps. The demon having a bloodline was too much for them to handle. She was sincerely hoping those old coots have a heart attack. "What can you tell us of this supposed bloodline?" Danzo asked. "We don't have any data on it. But the chakra which was activated is growing at an alarming rate and trying to expel the Kyuubi's chakra out of the boy. Both chakras seem like natural enemies. That was the reason for the chakra surge this evening. The white chakra keeps trying to expel the Kyuubi's chakra. When that became impossible due to the seal, the chakra began fighting against the seal. This internal struggle caused the boy's chakra pathways to break permanently at some points." Everyone's eyes widened. "Breakages in chakra pathways are very dangerous," Akemi continued. "The white chakra has already absorbed all of the boy's natural chakra, which was maintaining the seal, which caused the seal to become unstable, which is why fixing the seal is out of the option," Jiraiya added. Akemi nodded. "The boy now contains only one chakra pathway, containing the white chakra. Other 3 pathways which existed in the boy has already been either destroyed or absorbed by the new pathway. At this rate, Naruto-kun's chakra pathway will collapse in on itself, leading to instant death." Her voice was unwavering, but her heart was shattered. "Hokage-sama, we have to do something. The Kyuubi cannot be released once again. We have yet to fully recover from the previous attack. One more will be the end of Konoha." Panic and chaos was raging. Hiruzen kept silent. He knew that Jiraiya has something else on mind. Jiraiya meanwhile was thinking whether he should let the village rot or not. If he goes forward with his plan, Naruto will be lost. But if he didn't, as much as he hates the civilians, Konoha was still his home. Saving Naruto was impossible at this point. "How about we reseal the Kyuubi in someone else?" Danzo suggested, drawing out gasps from almost everyone. Many of them feared for their infants who had been born recently. "Well, Konohamaru-kun is there. Maybe we can seal," but before the merchant could finish, "Pathetic. You disgusting pigs. None of you are willing to sacrifice one of your own, yet you despise the one that had been sacrificed for you. What's to say that this won't happen again in the future?" Jiraiya had enough with these ingrates. He sneered. "Besides, sealing the demon in an infant is out of the option." "And why is that, Jiraiya?" asked Koharu. "For the sealing technique I have in mind, an infant will not suffice. We need a child, preferably a boy, who recently activated his chakra. That way the pathway will be stable enough to hold my seal and flexible enough to adjust to the Kyuubi's chakra." The council room grew eerily quiet. Many of them had children in the academy that had recently activated their chakra. Boys have naturally larger reserves, that way they will have more chance at survive the sealing. "What is this technique of yours, Jiraiya? And why not use the seal used on the first and second Kyuubi Jinchuriki?" Danzo spoke. Hiruzen glared at his rival for exposing such information in front of civilians. But since Danzo didn't say names, punishment was not possible. The civilian council was stunned to say the least. There were more Jinchurikis for Kyuubi? It's too dangerous. Both of those sealing worked only because of the Senju would release, or the Uzumaki chakra chains to keep the Bijou subdued during the sealing. Since the only Uzumaki left is dying and there is no one with powerful enough would release, even if the seals are strong, we won't be able to finish the sealing. Jiraiya scoffed, letting the council know how much they messed up. "What about Tenzo or the Uchiha?" asked Koharu. "Unless you have someone in mind that could measure up to Madara and Hashirama, it won't be enough." "And the technique you are using?" "It is a seal transfer technique. We will transfer the seal from Naruto to the new Jinchuriki before Naruto dies or the seal breaks. It is the safest option possible at the moment. But when I transfer the seal it will remain the same, meaning the death of the new Jinchuriki shall result in the release of the Kyuubi. You can fix that once the seal is transplanted to the new Jinchuriki, can't you, Jiraiya-sama?" someone asked. Jiraiya scoffed. "And why would I do that?" "So that you can kill the new Jinchuriki as soon as she is made? I know that. That condition is the only thing that will keep the boy/girl safe. So I will not change it, no matter what you say. If you have a problem, you don't bother me with it." Jiraiya sneered. What are their chances of survival? Hiruzen asked, eyes closed. The new Jinchuriki have a 50% chance of survival. And Naruto-kun? The seal transfer will completely shatter his chakra pathway, either way he won't. Jiraiya didn't finish. Hiruzen nodded. Hiruzen stood up. Think carefully. All of you were preaching about how you were ready to kill Naruto for the sake of the village. Now the question is, will you be able to sacrifice one of your own for the same reason? I will be announcing the news to the whole village. Hopefully someone will come forward. Akemi was sitting near Naruto's bed. The whole village was in panic. Soon the Hokage and Kakashi without his dog mask joined her. The announcement is done? She asked quietly. Yes. Everyone now knows of Naruto's burden and they will soon have to make a choice. What if no one comes forward? Silence was her reply. But she didn't care. He wanted to know who his parents were. We couldn't even tell him that. Now we won't get a chance to. She broke down. I failed them. I failed my Sochi. My sweet boy, she wailed. We all failed them. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto didn't know what was happening. He remembered someone grabbing him, but how did he end up in this sewer? Did they throw him in here? The thought that they threw him in a sewer like trash depressed him. But maybe he should be thankful that they didn't beat him up. He kept walking forward, following the glowing red pipes on the ceiling of the sewer. But he came to a stop in front of a brick wall. The pipes were cut off by the brick wall. He couldn't move forward anymore. There was this weird symbol etched on the wall. He shrugged. This place is creepy. Suddenly the sewer began shaking. An earthquake? He was terrified. The ceiling started falling and he became scared, so he ran in the same direction he came, but couldn't find any way out. The falling debris was starting to scare him. That's when he saw the small door in the corner. He would not have noticed it if it wasn't for the gleaming silver doorknob. Seeing no other way out, he ran towards the door. For a moment he was worried about what was behind the door, but the need to get out of the collapsing sewer made him open the door. Then everything exploded in brilliant white. This was during the time of the first chakra surge at the hospital. Naruto didn't know what was happening. The white chains were twisting around him, cradling him, and he felt calm and safe. The chains went towards the cracking ceiling and held it together. And as if by magic, everything began fixing itself. The debris vanished, and the ceiling was fixed. The sewer began to change. The water was gone and the dirty floor and walls were replaced by white marble. He stood dumbfounded, but he saw that the brick wall was still standing. But now he could feel something. Something was behind that wall, something dangerous. The chains became agitated and began lashing against the brick wall. Naruto was scared. The chains were violently trying to break the wall down. Soon the wall broke. The chains rushed forward. The sewer behind the wall also changed as soon as the chains entered. He didn't know whether to follow the chain or not. That's when he heard it. A roar, which soon turned into cries and whimpers. All Naruto could think was that someone was in pain. He rushed forward without thinking. What he saw made him scared. There inside a cage was a giant nine-tailed fox. Few chains had managed to slither inside the cell and were strangling the fox. They were ripping the fox into pieces. Another set of chains were trying to break the bars of the cell. The fox let out another roar of agony and Naruto couldn't take it anymore. Stop! What are you doing? Let go of him. You're hurting him. But the chains kept on with their task. The fox's whimper made Naruto cry. Suddenly the fox changed into a man. He looked about 20 years old with wild red hair. A slim but muscular body and piercing red eyes. There were 9 fox tails spread out behind the man, and 2 fox ears atop his head. The man had a wild look. The chains were holding on to each of his limbs, including his tails. They looked like they were trying to rip the tails off the man. The man was crying out in agony and Naruto kept yelling at the chains to stop, but they didn't. Finally, when he was about to move forward so he could reach the man to help, 2 slender arms took a hold of him from behind and cradled his struggling body against a firm chest. Naruto cried out and tried to look at his capturer. It was another man, long silver hair framing a handsome face. Cat-like emerald eyes and pale milky skin. The man was stunning. Naruto was enchanted for a moment, but then he remembered the other man who needed help. He looked back only to see that he was in plain white room. Hello, Kit. Naruto stared at the man who was yet to put him down. That man he and need he help. Naruto spoke, crying. He didn't know what was going on, but it hurt him to see the red-haired man in pain. He will be fine, Kit, I promise you. And I can never break a promise. Really? Yes. Who are you, mister? And what's a kit? Me, I am Inari, Naruto-kun. And a kit is a baby fox. Inari? Like that foxy god? I suppose, he said with a sparkle of mischief. Kit, do you know why I am here? It's because you have awakened the bloodline of the Sora clan. A bloodline? You mean I am from a clan? So I have family? Naruto asked, excited, tears threatening to fall. Inari shook his head. I am sorry, Kit, but you are the last member of 3 clans. Naruto cried silently. At least now I know that they didn't abandon me. Wait. You said 3 clans. Yes, Kit. The bloodline you awoke is of the Sora clan, but neither of your parents was from the Sora clan. Can you tell me who they are? Naruto asked quietly. There is someone waiting to tell you about your parents, Kit. You will know soon. Promise? I promise. Now I am going to tell you about the Sora clan. You see, your grandmother from your father's side and your great-grandfather from your mother's side was from the Sora clan. That is how you obtained the Sora bloodline, although under normal circumstances you would never have activated the bloodline since the bloodline was too diluted, I guess. We should be thankful to that man. Who? No one you should be worried about anyway. You see, a few centuries ago, I was wandering the earth when I came across a Hanyu, which means a half-demon. He was an orphan, a human mother who didn't want a demon child and a demon father who died in a war. Everyone hated him, they treated him like dirt. Naruto gasped, like me? So am I a Hanyu too? He asked sadly. You are not a Hanyu, Kit, but you are his descendant. Is that why they hate me? No. In fact, no one but us knows about your ancestry at the moment. You will know the reason of their hate soon, Kit. Now let me finish my story. So I took him in. His name was Yuko. I raised him. Later he fell in love with a human and had a son, who they named Sora, because of his beautiful blue eyes. Since Sora was technically my grandson, I gave him a gift, a bloodline called the Divine Touch. Basically, I gave him a special chakra that could do a lot more than the normal chakra. His bloodline was passed on to his children, and so on. But soon my children became corrupted and many began abusing the power I gave them. So I was forced to discipline them. I took away what I gave them. I made it so that only those with a pure soul and the blood of Sora could ever hope to use the Divine Touch. And that is why you could use the bloodline, Kit. Because you are a very good person. Naruto blushed and buried his face in the man's kimono. Inari gently stroked his hair. Remember, Naruto, you are the first to activate the Sora bloodline in a long time. But the most important thing is that you are my Kit, my son, my legacy. Naruto stared wide-eyed. Why, you are so son? Yes, Kit. Tears came unbridled, and he hugged the man, his father, for dear life. Inari hugged back, letting his aura calm the child. Now go, Naruto, there are people wishing to talk to you. Huh? Leave? What about his father? He just got him. Inari saw the panic in his Kit's eyes. Don't worry, I'll be right here waiting for you, I promise. And everything went blank. When Naruto opened his eyes, everything was blurry and his whole body hurt. Where was he? Was it all a dream? A dream that he gained a father? Of course it was. How could someone like him find a father, that too a god? He felt like crying, everything hurt. But what hurt most was his heart, that dream felt so real. Naruto-kun? Oh, Naruto-kun, you are awake, he heard a familiar voice, Akemi-san. He tried to talk to her, but his throat felt like he swallowed a large sharp rock. Naruto-kun, nod if you can hear us, that was Gigi. Naruto nodded slightly. But even that hurt. Oh, Naruto, I am so sorry I couldn't save you, he heard Akemi-san sob. He wanted to tell her not to cry, nothing was her fault, but what happened to him anyway? Naruto-kun, you were attacked a few hours ago. Oh, that made sense. Naruto, there is something I have to tell you. Gigi sounds so sad. Did I make him sad? I know who your parents are, Naruto-kun. If Naruto could, he would have yelled. Your father was the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Your hero, and your mother was Kushina Uzumaki, and they both loved you very much. Tears fell from his eyes. His parents loved him. They wanted him, and then his Gigi told him everything, how his father sealed the Kyuubi in him, how he wanted Naruto to be seen as a hero, how his mother and Uzumaki Mito before her were the Jinchurikis of Kyuubi. Gigi held nothing back, told him everything. Akemi-san told him about his parents. They were close friends. She told stories of their genin days, how Naruto acted just like his mother but has his father's coloring, how the shape of his eyes resembled his mother's and he felt happy that he was like them so much. He heard about how his mother lost her whole village in the war, and he felt so sad for his mother. Naruto, who was that? He didn't recognize the voice. I know you don't recognize me, how can you? I never even came to see you once. He could hear the self-hatred in the man's voice. He wanted to tell the man to not be sad. And now you are here and it is all my fault. Maybe if I had taken care of you, you wouldn't be Naruto. I wanted to teach you so many things. I wanted to make you into a fine shinobi that would one day surpass your father. I am so sorry, Naruto. I am your godfather, Naruto. My name is Jiraiya and I was the one who taught your father. Naruto was shocked once again. Godfather? He had a godfather? Then why wasn't the man there when he needed him? But Naruto knew that the man regretted his actions, so he listened to how the man couldn't take him because it was too dangerous, how he sent money to help raise him. He was scared that he couldn't properly take care of a child and Naruto couldn't feel angry at him anymore. The man did what he could. The next one to talk to him was Kakashi Hatake, his father's last living student. Naruto was surprised to know that Kakashi was the dog Mastambu who always helped him. Naruto felt warm. All these people, all of them loved him, and for him, that was enough. Inari blessed. The next time Naruto opened his eyes, he was in a familiar white room. He was lying in someone's lap. He looked up to see who it was, and when he saw familiar silver hair and emerald eyes, he cried. Kit, the man cooed and hugged him close. Is this just another dream? Naruto whimpered. No, Kit, this is not a dream. I am real as the rest of the world, he said softly. Naruto looked up at the man hopefully. So you're real and you'll be my father? I am not sure, the man said thoughtfully. Naruto's face dropped. I mean, if it is a father you want, I could be a father, or maybe I could be your mother. I was wondering which would be better. I know. I'll be both. How does that work anyway, ga? This is too confusing. Why am I thinking this anyway? No matter what happens, you are my kid, so it shouldn't matter what you call me, the man rambled on, ignoring Naruto's widening eyes. Finally he saw Naruto's face and chuckled sheepishly. Ah well, you see, I don't exactly have a gender. So it shouldn't really matter if I am your mother or father, so you can call me father if you want, I guess, but personally I think Two-chan sounds better. So what do you say? His answer was a crushing hug by the 7-year-old. For a moment Naruto thought that the man Inari didn't want to be his father. Inari heard Naruto mumble Two-chan repeatedly under his breath. He smiled gently. Gigi told me about them, my real parents, they loved me. Two-chan, they wanted me and my dad. He Naruto couldn't finish as sobs reeked his body. A childish fear that his new Two-chan might hate him if he knew, but all his fears were put aside by Inari. I know, Kit. I know. I heard everything and I don't hate you. I love you with all my heart because you are my Kit, and always will be. Naruto sobbed harder, but this time because of joy. Two-chan, where are we exactly? Oh. Oops, I almost forgot that part. Well, Kit, we are in your mindscape. My what? Mindscape, Kit, is a place in, well, your head, to put it simply. My head? We are actually in your mind. Oh. Kit, what do you think about the Kyuubi? To hate him, but Inari waited patiently for Naruto to gather his thoughts. But I couldn't blame him for hating us. He was sealed again and again. Maybe he was sad and angry like the entire villagers feel. Sad and angry that we stole his freedom, that he couldn't be with his family anymore. I want to hate him, but I can't, not without knowing why he did it. I can't blame him like the villagers blame me, without knowing him. Good Kid, I am proud of you. Naruto blushed. Now I am going to tell you about the 9 Bijou. You have heard about how the 9 Bijou was created from 10 tails, right? Naruto nodded. The old man Hokage had told him something like that. Well, you see, in order to defeat the 10 tails, the sage of the 6 paths sealed the chakra of the beast within himself and became the first Jinchuriki. Naruto gasped. He was like him. Yes, and when it was close to his death, he knew the chakra beast would be released after his death, and no one would be able to defeat the 10 tails. So he split the chakra into 9 separate entities, but none of these entities had a soul. So they would have acted on their most primary instinct, and since their chakra was actually from the malicious chakra of the 10 tails, their instinct was to cause chaos. The sage, in order to prevent that from happening, decided to anchor the chakra into 9 souls so that these souls may keep the chakra beasts in line without having to create more Jinchurikis. And so, the sage summoned 9 spirit guardians. Spirit guardians, Kit, are souls who serve under a divine being and become guardians of a particular realm or world. The first 8 that was summoned were all mostly from Jia, the earth realm, and they were all animal spirits of various kind. But you see, the 9th chakra beast was much more powerful than the first 8, so the sage knew that a much stronger spirit would be needed. So he summoned me and asked for help, and I let one of my spirit guardians to become the 9th Bijou. The Kyuubi, so that's why he looks like a fox, huh? Naruto said quietly and looked at his belly. Inari nodded quietly. What happened to him? Naruto asked, wanting to know how a guardian became a monster. Inari's face shadowed. He was very brave and had such a strong spirit. Even when the first 8 of them lost their minds under the corruption of the chakra, he remained strong and protected them all. To him they were his siblings, and a kitsune always protects their family. Naruto looked on in awe. But soon his siblings were sealed by humans. Since he didn't want to create chaos, he had steer clear of the human villages. So he couldn't save them? Naruto asked sadly. No, they were all pretty much gone mad by the time they were sealed. Releasing them would have caused too much chaos that he was created to avoid. He mostly lived in solitude. Avoided contact with any other beings except when I or my foxes pay an occasional visit. And then he made a mistake. Naruto saw the sadness in his father's eyes and hugged him. Inari looked down at Naruto and smiled gently. The chakra clouded his judgment, and he trusted someone he shouldn't have. He was desperate. The 10 tails chakra was constantly assaulting his willpower, and he wanted someone capable of keeping him under control. Someone with the power to keep the 10 tails chakra in check. There exist 3 bloodlines that are able to subdue Bijou chakra. First one is the Senju would release. The first Hokage had it. It was blessing given by Kami. The second one was the Uzumaki chakra chains, a blessing given by Shinigami. Chakra chains, my mom had them, Naruto said sadly. Inari hugged him in comfort. The third one was the Uchiha Sharingan. It was a blessing by Yami. Out of the 3 bloodlines, Sharingan used to be the one with the least control over Bijou chakra. Used to be? Inari nodded grimly. One day an Uchiha had somehow found where Kyuubi was resting. Still struggling to stay in control, he trusted the Uchiha's offer for help. So he used some of his Yukai to enhance the Uchiha's Sharingan, and gave it the power to control the 10 tails chakra. And since all Bijou are made of the 10 tails chakra, the Sharingan obtained the power to control every Bijou. That Uchiha was Uchiha Shin, father to Madara Uchiha. Shin decided to use the Sharingan's new power to fight against the Senju by controlling Kyuubi. But Kyuubi saw through this at last minute, and somehow escaped, but the power of the Sharingan was passed on to the next generations. Years later Madara followed his father's footsteps and tried to control Kyuubi, and unlike his father, he succeeded. Kyuubi at that time was on the verge of losing control, and when Madara used the Sharingan on him, his will got taken over. He became a puppet to both Madara and the Bijou chakra, then he got sealed inside Mito and later Kushina and then you. Naruto saw his father's melancholy look and spoke. I promise I will help Kyubi, Two-chan. I will help him get back control. Inari chuckled. Oh my kid, you already are helping him. Huh, you remember the man you saw earlier? Well, that is Kyubi. Oh no. What happened to him? He was in so much pain, ga. We have to help him. Seeing Naruto's panic state, Inari gently took hold of his kid's shoulders and spoke. Kid, I promised he will be fine, didn't I? And Inari never goes back on his promises. Naruto calmed down and chuckled sheepishly. Sorry Two-chan, I just panicked, that's all. Inari could still see that Naruto was worried but had chosen to trust his father. Naruto, I or my followers never goes back on our word. Promises, no matter how small, are to be kept. If you can't keep your promise, then don't promise in the first place, understood? Naruto saw his father's serious look and nodded. I will never go back on my word, Two-chan, and that's a promise. Inari smiled at his son. He was proud of Naruto, and his kit looked so cute when he was serious. We will go see Kyubi later. Now I am going to tell you about your bloodline. Seeing Naruto nod excited, he continued. Naruto, I told you that there are 3 bloodlines capable of subduing a Biju, right? But there are 2 other bloodlines capable of cleansing Biju chakra or any type of dark chakra. And one of them is your bloodline, the Divine Touch. The other one is a bloodline called Divine Flames, a blessing given by Amaterasu, the sun goddess. Both bloodlines are similar to each other in a lot of ways but are still different. The Divine Touch gives you a special type of chakra called Divine Chakra, while Divine Flames gives the user control over golden flames of the sun goddess. Only those with a righteous heart can ever hope to use this bloodline. It passed on from the head priestess to head priestess of the temples of Amaterasu. Divine Touch, however, is a bloodline more attuned with the nature. The user becomes in perfect harmony with nature. This allows them to freely absorb nature chakra and wouldn't have to worry about turning to stone. Normal people turn into stone if too much nature chakra is absorbed. You can also manipulate plant life. Remember, I said manipulate, not control. You cannot sprout trees in the middle of deserts like wood release, alright? Seeing Naruto nod, he continued. Then there's the fact that the divine chakra has an unnatural ability in healing. It would be able to heal most critical wounds if you have proper control. Phoenix Rebirth is an ability of this bloodline. It costs a lot of chakra, but you will be able to heal everyone within a particular area. The larger the area, the larger the chakra cost. There is also a negative emotion sensing ability that is part of the bloodline. There is a technique called Final Judgment that allows you to see a person's soul and weigh his good and wrong deeds. This is a very dangerous technique, because you will be living through their memories, and if the soul is particularly nasty it could become traumatic, understood? These techniques are not to be used carelessly. Naruto nodded. The fact that his father was worried about him made him feel all warm and fuzzy. Normally, these are all this bloodline should be able to do, but somehow your Uzumaki heritage interfered with the Sora bloodline and gave some additional features to your bloodline. Is that good or bad? Naruto asked, worried. It's nothing too bad. In fact, it is good, in a way. This way you will have to work harder than all previous Sora to master your bloodline. What do you mean? Two-chan? Well, you see, your chakra became much denser than it should be for a Sora. This way you will be able to use the pure chakra manipulation techniques of the Uzumakis. Huh? Really? This way I'll always have a part of my mom with me. Inari smiled at the young boy. By the way, what does it do exactly? Naruto asked, confused. Inari chuckled. Chakra chains, kit? But it isn't only chains, you can shape your chakra into anything you really want it. Most Uzumakis just have this weird fascination with chains. Inari shrugged. Naruto looked sheepish. Let me guess, you like chains too, Inari drawled, seeing the blushing boy. Is that wrong? Naruto asked, worried that he may have offended his father. Nah. I think chains are cool too. I just don't understand why every single Uzumaki likes them. Inari shrugged. So what else can I do? Naruto asked in barely contained excitement. You have massive chakra reserves, and when I mean massive I mean like maybe 3 or 4 tails worth, and it's still growing. Naruto's eyes bulged. Even Gigi didn't have that much chakra, which also mean you will suck at chakra control. You will have to do some massive chakra control exercise to even have any control at all. This would make it impossible for you to learn techniques that require only little chakra, and by the time your chakra reaches full capacity, even B-level ninjutsu will become impossible for you. Now Naruto was horrified. But you said it won't be that bad. What's the use of chakra if I can't use jutsu? Naruto was starting to pull his hair out. Kit, this is the case if you don't have any chakra control, but of course if you train properly you will be able to control your chakra to some level. Naruto took this as a challenge. And Naruto Uzumaki never backs down from a challenge. Well, I'll train the hardest, and then I'll have the best chakra control at the academy by the time I graduate, and that's a promise. Inari grinned, just what he wanted. Remember, Kit, once given, a promise cannot be broken. I won't. Naruto said with much conviction. Make me proud, Kit. Now come on, let's go, and see Kyubi. Naruto nodded. All the worry he had for the red-haired man Fox came back full force. He jumped out of Inari's lap and held his hand. And with a wave of his, Inari's, hand they were standing in front of the metal prison cell. Inside the prison cell, however, was different. The man was lying face down on the floor, naked. Where there were 9 blood-red tails, now only one remained, along with his fox ears, and they were a sunset orange color with golden tips. Behind the man, however, was a giant form of a nine-tailed fox made of red bubbling chakra, roaring and snarling and thrashing against the chains that held it away from the unconscious man. Terrified, Naruto hugged his father. Inari lifted Naruto off the ground and into his arms. "Two-chan, what's going on? Which one is Kyubi?" "Well, you see, Kit, I told you about the cleansing ability, right? Your chakra, because of its connection to me, instantly recognized Kyubi as family and tried to help him by removing the chakra that was driving him mad. But even with all your power, purifying that much chakra is impossible. So instead the chains want to remove the foul chakra from you and Kyubi." "Oh. So that's what the chains were doing earlier. But that thing won't break free, would it? And what about Kyubi?" "Don't worry, Kit. The chains are strong enough to hold it till it will be removed. And don't worry, Kyubi is only unconscious. See, he is waking up." Naruto turned to look at the man who was groaning and trying to stand up. But Inari covered his eyes before he could. "Two-chan?" Naruto questioned. "Put some cloths on, will you, Kyubi? There's a kit here." Inari shouted, and Naruto blushed, knowing why his father covered his eyes. As soon as Kyubi heard Inari's voice, he regained his brain functions properly. "Inari-sama!" he yelled, startled. Then he processed what Inari had said. He looked at the bundle in Inari's arms and down at himself. He promptly blushed, embarrassed. A navy blue kimono appeared to cover his lithe muscular frame. As soon as Inari deemed Kyubi as presentable, he let Naruto see. The man before him looked very different from last time he had seen him. His waist-length silky red hair now cascaded down his back in neat tresses. His face looked more relaxed, yet there was this tension in his face, like he feared something that was about to come. His eyes were no longer red but topaz, like molten gold. The navy blue kimono looked perfect against his milky skin. Most of all, he looked aristocratic, instead of the pharaoh look he possessed earlier. "Hello," Naruto greeted shyly. But instead of greeting back, Kyubi turned his head away in distress. "Kyubi," Inari called sadly. "Do you hate me for keeping you locked up?" Naruto asked quietly. "No." Kyubi almost yelled in surprise. "I mean, shouldn't you be the one to hate me?" "I mean, it's because of me that." Kyubi bit his lip. Naruto understood that Kyubi wasn't angry but was guilty. "It's not your fault, you know," Naruto said. "I should have been stronger. Should have been more damn careful." Kyubi bit out. "Stop it, Kyubi. What's done is done. And stop cursing in front of my kit. Anyway, you know that fate is just a bit I meant bad person." Inari finished sheepishly. Kyubi's gave Inari an unimpressed look, which caused Inari to pout and Naruto to giggle. "Look, I know you think all that happened is your fault, but it is not. Sometimes situations make us do things we regret. But if you keep drowning yourself in hate, you will never be able to make amends." Both kitsune stared at Naruto after he said this. "What? I can be smart too, you know," he huffed, blushing. This caused them to chuckle. Kyubi felt a weight lift off his shoulders, seeing that the person he caused so much pain didn't hate him. If only there were more humans like Naruto. "Naruto-kun, I apologize for every hardship I have caused you. I know an apology would never be enough, but if there is anything I can do for you, well, you can start by being my first friend. Be my friend and we're even," Naruto said with a straight face. "Of course, I'll be honored to become your friend, Naruto-chan," Kyubi teased. "Okay, hey. Don't call me that. I am not a girl, baka." Naruto pouted. Both kitsune laughed. "Come out, Kyubi," Inari called. "But Inari-sama, the seal is to prevent the Bijou chakra from escaping, and as I recall you have none left." Kyubi stared at Inari with wide eyes, and then he looked back the snarling chakra fox. He took a deep breath and stepped out of the cage. He gave a sincere smile. Freedom was incredible. "But, Inari-sama, this will not harm Naruto-kun, will it?" Inari just smiled. "You worry too much, Kyubi." The cage vanished behind them and they were back in the plain white room. "Is everything ready, Jiraiya?" Hiruzen asked from where he was at one corner of the room. Jiraiya was standing at the center of a seal matrix. He nodded grimly. Connected to the seal matrix were two other giant seals. On one of the seals laid Naruto and on the other laid the new Jinchuriki. The Hokage and 9 other Anbu made a circle around the 3 of them. "All ready to begin." "Forgive me, Naruto-kun," Jiraiya whispered, and with that the resealing began. "What happens now, Inari-sama?" Kyubi asked from where he was playing with Naruto. Inari frowned thoughtfully. "Kyubi, you will be coming with me for the time being." "What about me, Two-chan?" Naruto asked, somewhat scared at the thought of his father and new friend leaving. "We will come back, Kit, I promise you." The promise calmed Naruto's racing heart. "Okay," Naruto said sadly. "It has begun," Inari said, staring at the white ceiling. "What has begun, Inari-sama?" Kyubi asked, perplexed. He too felt the change in the chakra, but he figured it was nothing to be concerned about if Inari-sama kept so calm. "The resealing," was the reply. "The what?" 2 voices echoed, one in disbelief and the other in confusion. "They are resealing the chakra beast from Naruto into a new Jinchuriki." They're taking Kyubi away?" Naruto cried, hugging Kyubi. "No, they are taking the Bijou chakra away," Inari said, smiling gently. Naruto calmed down. "Who's the new Jinchuriki?" Naruto and Kyubi asked at the same time, both worried for different reasons. Kyubi was worried about the power ending up in the wrong hands and Naruto was worried about how the new Jinchuriki will be treated. Inari just smiled and stood up. We will be leaving now, Kit. We will come back soon. Naruto nodded sadly, determined not to cry. He then hugged both Inari and Kyubi. See you soon, Kit. Now I believe you have some guests. With that, Inari and Kyubi vanished. Huh? Naruto looked around him confused. That's when he saw the two figures standing behind him. He turned towards him and froze on the spot. Akemi was quite detailed in her descriptions of his parents, but now seeing them stand there, with those soft smiles and so much love shining in their eyes, all for him, Naruto felt like he was caught in a wonderful dream. Soon he was engulfed in the warm embrace of his parents. Chapter 4. Minato and Kushina did not know what was happening. They both remember how they died and how they had to leave their baby. Now standing next to each other in front of their boy, they couldn't hold back their joy at being given a chance to meet their child. Shinigami-sama's words still rang in their minds. They only had an hour with their boy, and this was only happening because of a favor to Inari-sama. They didn't care why Inari-sama would ask for such a favor, but they wouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. Without wasting a moment, they rushed forward and hugged their son. Naru-chan, my baby, Kushina sobbed. Dad, Mom, Naruto whispered. Sarutobi must have told him about his parentage, they thought. Sochi and Minato had no idea what to say. Did their boy know about his burden? Did he hate them? Dad, I know everything and I still love you both, Naruto sobbed. I am so sorry, Naruto. It's okay, Dad. How was your life, Naruto? And tell us everything. Okay, Kushina encouraged her son. At first Naruto didn't know whether to tell them the truth or not, but then he decided to tell them truth. As Naruto explained how his life has been, Minato and Kushina grew murderous. I should have let Kyubi destroy the village. Minato said, guilty and angry. No, I want that pleasure all to myself. Kushina said with eyes blazing as silent tears streamed down her cheeks. It's alright, Dad, Mom, it's because of that I met Kyubi and Tuchan. When Naruto said this, they hugged him again and didn't let go. Minato was sad that Inari had replaced him, but then Naruto said that to him both his fathers were precious. A determined look appeared in Kushina's eyes and she placed her hand on Naruto's forehead. Her chakra flowed in and formed a seal on his forehead. Minato and Naruto stared, not knowing what was happening, then her purple eyes glowed and her pupil disappeared. As soon as it started, it ended. Naruto felt strange. Kushina had a satisfied look on her face. Dear? Minato called, confused. Naru-chan, what I did now was a sacred ritual of the Uzumaki clan. It is used to transfer the secret techniques of the clan from one clan head to the next. And as of today, as the last living member of the Uzumaki royal line, you Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto is named the clan heir to the Uzumaki. You shall receive the knowledge when the seal recognizes that you are ready. Minato's and Naruto's eyes widened. Then Naruto stood straight and placed a hand over his heart. I will make you both and the Uzumaki clan proud, Mom. This is a promise. And Uzumaki Naruto never goes back on his word. Kushina smiled proudly and hugged him again. Naruto, Minato called. I have named you the heir of the Namikaze clan as well. The key to the Uzumaki compound is your chakra and blood. We both lived in the Uzumaki compound since the Namikaze compound was always targeted once I became Hokage. So, all of our possessions are in the Uzumaki compound. Ask Sarutobi where the compound is and you'll be living there from now on. No objections, or I will haunt Sarutobi till the day he dies and then I'll handle him more physically. Count me in, you know. Kushina piped in, and Naruto and Minato laughed. Tell Sarutobi to give you your inheritance. Every technique I have invented till this day is inside a vault in the compound, but remember, Sochi, when you train, find someone to supervise, okay? I don't want you joining us by some training accident. Minato smiled. We thought we'd have time, you know, to teach you everything, to see you every day. We thought we'd have time, Kushina said with a sad smile. It's okay, Mom, Dad, there is something I want to tell you guys. Minato and Kushina looked at their nervous and scared son. Naruto was not sure how they would react to his decision. He hasn't even told Inari Tuchan yet, but Naruto knew he'd never get a chance like this again, so either he tells them now or they would never know. It's okay, Naru. We will love you no matter what you're going to say, Kushina said gently. Minato gently held his son's shoulder and smiled encouragingly. I am going to leave Konoha. Naruto saw the concerned yet understanding look on his parents' face. It's not because I hate the place or anything, but I want to help Q find his brothers and save them. And I can't do that if I'm stuck in Konoha. Minato and Kushina nodded, both relieved that their son wasn't consumed by hatred or anything. Not that they liked Konoha or anything. They just wanted their son to remain sane and an overall good person. Naruto visibly relaxed when they nodded. But Sochi, when are you planning to leave? It's a dangerous world out there. We don't want you getting hurt. Kushina said, concerned. Naruto, I know you have made up your mind, but I want you to wait till you reach Chunin before leaving the village. Many ninjas retire once they reach higher ranks. By then you can also become strong enough to leave. Also, you should officially become the clan head of Uzumaki. You can do that once you reach Chunin. Minato said. Kushina nodded, understanding where her husband was going with this. That's right. The Uzumaki clan essentially still belongs to Ushio. Our life in Konoha was only a mutual agreement. The clan head of the Uzumaki has the right to leave Konoha with the clan. As Konoha is only a second home to us, and even if you are clan head you will have no place in the Konoha council. which makes it easier to leave. Naruto nodded in understanding. His parents were helping him fulfill his goal. He smiled, but then he saw how his father's face became sad. He understood why when Minato spoke. But you will have to keep my relation to you a secret. It will make you a lot of enemies if anyone knows that I am your father, especially from IWA. Also, Konoha won't let you leave once you officially become recognized as the son of a Hokage. So if you wish to cut all ties with Konoha, you will have to keep the Namake's name a secret from the council. So I'll never be able to take up the Namake's name? Naruto asked, saddened that he could never take up his father's family name. You can once you ally with another village. It will cause a little political turmoil, but if you become a prominent member of another village and then discover that you are the son of a Hokage, they have no right to call you back. It also helps that the Namake's clan doesn't have any bloodlines. Kushina said with a smile. That would work. When you leave, take the necessary records with you and make sure that Sarutobi doesn't officially name you the Namake's heir. Minato was happy that his son would have a chance to take up on his family name one day. Naruto nodded, and as the 1 hour neared an end, all of them were happy that they got some time together, but none of them wanted to leave. Minato and Kushina started fading and they knew that it was time to leave. Goodbye Sochi, know that no matter what we will always love you, take care of yourself, okay? You are the best thing that happened to us, Naru-chan. I love you, Mom, Dad. And with that they faded. In his office, Hiruzen Sarutobi sat processing what just happened. The resealing had been done. Konoha now had a new Jinchuriki, and the most surprising fact of all, Naruto was alive. His surrogate grandson survived. The simple fact set his heart at peace. Hokage-sama. Hiruzen looked at a happy and relieved Akemi. Hyuga-sen, how are Naruto-kun and the new Jinchuriki? Both are fine, Hokage-sama. But there is something you should know regarding Naruto-kun. Akemi became serious. The Hokage knew that even if Naruto had survived, he might have taken some irreversible damage. He prepared himself for the worst. During the sealing, Naruto-kun's chakra coils took a massive strain and was completely ruptured. What? Hiruzen gasped, alarmed. But that means, normally that should mean death, but here the result is completely unheard of. I believe it is the healing property of the white chakra that makes this possible. The old Hokage was intrigued. The smile playing on Akemi's lips meant that something good had occurred. Normally once the chakra coil ruptures, the free chakra enters the cells directly, and the cells died because they can't take the strain and cause instant death. But here, when the chakra entered the cells, the healing chakra might have increased the durability of the cells, and as a result, each cell in Naruto's body is literally drenched in chakra. How is that, Evan? He always manages to surprise us, Hiruzen said with wide eyes. How will this affect him? Currently I am not sure, as I have not seen such a phenomenon before. There is also one more thing. I should prepare my heart for another bomb, Hiruzen muttered, seeing the gleeful and incredulous expression worn by Akemi. Since his chakra isn't limited by the size of his coils anymore, there was an incredulous rate of chakra production. I believe that the white chakra was trying to replace the Kyuubi's chakra that was lost. This means Hiruzen was starting to curse Minato for putting so much pressure on him. This means that Naruto has nearly 9 taels worth of chakra at the moment. And the chakra production has stopped, so I hope for Naruto's sake that it won't grow any larger. Hiruzen sighed. No one can know of this except us four. As far as the council knows, the boy can use chakra chains and has healing chakra. If this little detail is leaked, things could become difficult. From the shadows, Jiraiya and Kakashi stepped forward and nodded. What are we going to do now that Naruto knows everything? Akemi was worried that the boy might hate them for not telling him sooner. None of them wanted that. We will leave it up to Naruto. The others nodded to the Hokage's decision. They hoped that the boy didn't hate them. All of them quieted as they felt an approaching chakra signature. The Chunin entered the office after knocking. Hokage-sama, the elders have announced the identity of the new Jinchuriki to the villagers. He said nervously. What? Who gave them permission to do that? Hiruzen roared in anger. Those imbeciles. I did. Uchiha Fugaku said as he entered the office, calmly followed by the village elders. And just when did you become Hokage? Hiruzen asked venomously. Fugaku shrank back nervously, but kept his composure. The villagers should know what the Uchiha clan has sacrificed for their sake. They have been informed what will happen if they harm my son. This way he will be respected for his sacrifice. The villagers have the right to know, Hokage-sama, Koharu said, and they know that the boy's death means their inevitable doom, so they will behave themselves. And from the response we have seen from the villagers, everyone respects the boy. They know that it could have been any of their children. The boy will be treated fairly, as a hero should be. That said, you have no right to undermine the Hokage's authority. And as it is, your actions are a sign of insubordination, and you will have to receive your punishment, Jiraiya said seriously. These old coots were the ones who destroyed Naruto's life. They are going to pay. Silence, boy. It is not your place to give us punishment, Danzo said. Jiraiya grinned. Oh, it is not my place, but it is the Hokage's. And you all will do well to remember that as one of the Sannin I have equal standing as you. Hiruzen sat back in his chair with a calm, grandfatherly smile. That is right. Such action from the village elders and my advisors are very unwise. So as of today you are no longer my advisors. That means you have no place in the council as well. he said in a gentle voice, sounding like he was reprimanding misbehaving children, and before Koharu could open her mouth, Hiruzen continued, and I also received some evidence to some of your more unsavory actions. Trying to bribe the hospital personals to mistreat Naruto-kun, bribing the civilian council, disclosing high-class information without the permission of the Hokage, keeping valuable information from the Hokage, aiding in the Hyuga incident, aiding in the supposed fox hunts, stealing from the Uzumaki clan funds and blocking Naruto-kun's stipend. The Hokage's ki rose as he spoke, but he was still smiling calmly. The advisors were shaking and sweating now. Fugaku was not sure to stay or run. Danzo kept his face blank, but he knew he was caught. At least Root was still hidden. Maybe he spoke too soon, Danzo thought as he saw the disturbing smile on Jiraiya's face as he looked at Danzo. For your crimes you three shall spend 6 months in the shinobi prison, and 3 million yen will be extracted from each of your wealth and transferred to the Uzumaki account, and 5,000,000 yen will be extracted from each of you and will be given to Naruto-kun as compensation, and if anything is left after that it will be given to Konoha Hospital and orphan funds. The 3 elders were pale, they lost everything. Danzo was worried, as well as relieved. Hiruzen had yet to mention about Root or any of his other crimes, but if he fights back now everything will be exposed. So he kept quiet. Money was not a problem. After the 6 months in the shinobi prison he will be back in Konoha. 6 months was not worth destroying his whole plan over. Hiruzen will get what is coming to him once Danzo gets out. With that Danzo decided to stay quiet and endure. The Umbu came and took them away. Fugaku fidgeted. You will not be punished. But remember that after this if anything happens to your son you are the one responsible. The villagers aren't the only one to be afraid of. Fugaku frowned but bowed and left. After he left Hiruzen sighed contentedly. Jiraiya chuckled first, soon all 4 of them were laughing. I wanted to do that for a while now. Hiruzen said. They got what is coming to them. Akemi said chuckling. But now I need 3 advisors. Hiruzen said. Are they really necessary? What if they turn out like the previous ones? Akemi asked worried. Who is it that you have chosen? Jiraiya asked seeing the look on his mentor's face. Hiruzen smirked. Akemi-san, Kakashi, you may both leave. Hiruzen waited for them to leave. They bowed and left. Danzo looked really smug. The old Hokage said smiling. He won't be once he finds out that he won't ever be getting out of there. Jiraiya said. He doesn't even know that we know about everything he has done, including his plan to wipe out the Uchiha clan using Itachi and Shursui. My old friend has fallen so low. Root will be taken over and added to our Umbu. They will become our section of Hunter Nin. Umbu Captain Taka will be placed as their leader. Disbanding them will only be useless. What about the children who are yet to be fully integrated with them? They will be sent to the academy if they wish, or will be placed in the orphanage under special care. Jiraiya nodded. What about Naruto's heritage? He will get the Uzumaki clan funds in the bank, as we still have no way to open the Uzumaki compound. That will have to do, since everything that belongs to the Uzumaki clan is kept inside their compound and the compound is closed off. I am afraid he will not get anything else. Jiraiya frowned sadly. Giving the boy his Namikaze's fortune was out of the option due to his father's enemies, and the ritual to open the Uzumaki compound was lost when Kushina died. Jiraiya, Danzo should not live any longer. I was hoping he would change, but it is too late. His decision to wipe out an entire clan to obtain the Sharingan was foolish. He even joined with that wayward student of mine to implant the cells of the first Hokage into his arm. I will not let this go on any longer. Had we not known, he would have killed Shursui and we would have been forced to order the elimination of the clan. The Hokage sighed wearily. It will be done. Jiraiya said and left the office through the window. Hiruzen stood up and went to the window and gazed at the Hokage mountain, one face in particular. He could hear the shouts and celebration from the villagers. They were celebrating their new hero. True to Koharu's words, the entire village saw the new Jinchuriki as a hero, the way they should have treated Naruto. It took almost end of Konoha for them to change. He sighed once more. Why didn't I offer to do the sealing in Minato's place? The old Hokage grumbled. Things would have been much better that way. Hokage-sama, Uzumaki Naruto is awake. Hiruzen nodded to the Umbu and left to see his surrogate grandson. All of them stood silently as they stared at the blond blue-eyed boy with trepidation. His birthmarks remained even after the resealing, but they were lighter and barely visible. They were sure that it would fade with time. The boy just stared at them blankly. Jiraiya and Kakashi had rushed in as soon as they heard Naruto was awake. Akemi, as always, was with Naruto. The 4 of them had no idea what to say, so they stood without uttering a word. Naruto stared at them for some more time before he sighed. Are you all going to keep staring at me? I am sad that none of you want to know how I am, Naruto said, scowling playfully. The adults let out a breath they didn't know they were holding. Soon Naruto was drowning in hugs. You are not angry? Akemi asked, refusing to let go of her. Naruto. Angry? No. I understand your reasons. And you wouldn't guess what happened to me. Naruto smiled mischievously. All of them stared at the boy in confusion. I met Mom and Dad. All of their hearts stopped for a moment. Naruto chuckled sheepishly. They all looked hilarious. Naruto-kun, what are you talking about? Hiruzen asked, worried about the boy's mental health. Naruto chuckled and began telling his tale. He knew he could trust them, he could sense it. None of them held anything but love and care towards him. Naruto watched humorously as they became paler and paler, his inner prankster cackling madly. He told them everything, including his Sora heritage, meeting Inari, then his parents, Kyubi, and his plan to leave. They all were saddened by the last part, but they understood and were willing to help him. So, who's the new Jinchuriki? Tu-chan didn't tell me when I asked. Oh, you know him. It's your classmate, Uchiha Shin, Sasuke's older twin. The following week was absolutely boring for Naruto. Akemi said that his increased chakra needs some time to settle down and for his body to reach a balance, so they had to monitor him for a week at the hospital. But since he had a lot to think about, he was not as bored as he should be. He also felt much calmer now that the malicious chakra was out of his system, and his new chakra always filled him with a type of serenity. He found out that he could sense emotions as well. He tested his emotion sensing with the few people he saw at the hospital. The one emotion he felt common from his 4 precious people were love, pride, and compassion. He couldn't pinpoint exactly which emotion because these 3 always felt similar. But he could feel the difference between intense emotions, like between love and hate. Akemi told him what happened outside the hospital. Shin was treated much like loyalty. He felt happy that he wasn't treated badly, but he did not know what to think of the other boy. Uchiha Sasuke was a bastard emo, but he was tolerable. But Shin was someone who took the holier-than-thou attitude to a whole new level. Naruto only hoped that the boy changed with time, for all of their sake. That kind of power he now possessed is not to be taken lightly. One thing he felt from the nurses who checked him is that they no longer hated him. He could feel the minuscule amounts of guilt, but they chose to ignore it rather than confront it, so instead of hating him, they now acted as if he didn't exist. He was not sure whether it was a good thing or bad. He did hear them whisper gossips. Apparently most of the villagers were afraid that he would end up like Orochimaru to have revenge. Many believed him to a flight risk, while some argued that he could have been already influenced by the Kyubi. But what hurt him most was that most of the villagers now referred to him as the failure of a Jinchuriki. They felt that his father had done a mistake in choosing him to be the Jinchuriki, as if it was Naruto's fault that he almost died and released the chakra beast. But as always, Akemi was there to cheer him up. After all, why should he listen to those ignorant villagers who never knew his dad? His father trusted him, and was proud of him even after he knew everything. He didn't waste the entire week moping, he trained his chakra control. Akemi as a medic knew a lot of chakra control exercise. She started with the basic, leaf-sticking exercise and he still couldn't master it. But he will one day, he was sure. After all, he had a promise to fulfill. There were many discussions of adoption by Akemi. Although Naruto wanted it, he couldn't do that knowing how the Hyuga elders wouldn't approve of such a thing, not because of him being an ex-demon host, but because he was an outsider from the clan. So he said that he would live at the Uzumaki compound. He still remembers their surprised expressions when he told them that only his blood and chakra was necessary to open the compound. They had been surprised and indignant when he said about how his mother made them into fools. Apparently his mother had told them that there was a weird ritual to open the gates of the compound. She made them dance in front of the gates and said that it was part of the ritual. His mother had shown him her memories of all 4 of his precious people dancing ridiculously in front of the gates. He had blackmail material worth a lifetime. He could still remember them cursing about the Uzumaki prankster genes. He stood in front of the gates to his new home. The Uzumaki compound stood proud, yet simple and homely. Unlike other clan compounds, this one didn't look as extravagant, but there was feeling of warmth that accompanied the small, compared to the other compounds only, compound. He felt like he was home. He could feel the chakra of the Uzumaki coursing through every part of it. This was why the Uzumaki compound was the safest, because the compound itself was family. And family always protects each other. The Uzumaki clan house was a masterpiece of Uzumaki artwork. From the outside it was a large house, not enough to be called a mansion, but inside it was a damn castle. The wonders of Fuinjutsu. The Uzumaki heirlooms proudly displayed showed how much they trusted their skill in protecting them. There was a room meant for Naruto. It was a baby room. He didn't change anything. He decided to live in the room next to his parents. Even if he knew that he was living alone in this big compound, he never felt alone. Naruto sighed gladly. This was home. Inari blessed. It has been 2 weeks since Naruto was released from the hospital. He spends most of the time at the compound, reading scrolls. Akemi had forbid him from going to academy, saying that he needed more rest. She came daily to check upon him. Jiraiya had left the village again, but not before visiting Naruto. Kakashi came often, but Hiruzen was busier with everything that was going on. Akemi Hyuga, head of the hospital, Hawk, the Umbu commander, and Satoshi Shinji, the head of the Bankers Association and finance advisor, were appointed as the Hokage's new advisors. The removal of the old advisors had shaken the council up. They now knew to tread carefully around the Hokage. The civilian council had brought up a suggestion to name Uchiha Shin as the successor of Namikaze Minato as a reward for the sacrifice that was made, and since the Yondaime had no heir. Hiruzen was fuming. How can they be so damn ignorant? He knew they were only trying to get in the Uchiha's good graces, and revealing Naruto's heritage was out of the option. So Hiruzen told them that the yondaime had left the Namikaze's fortune in the name of Uzumaki Naruto, as a compensation for the sealing, and as the actions of a former Hokage cannot be rewritten, even if named the successor, Uchiha Shin will only receive the Namikaze compound. As expected, this made the civilians and Uchiha happy. As far as they knew, all of the yondaime's prized possessions were left in the compound, and since the Uzumaki boy had no legal guardian, swindling money from him will be like taking candy from a baby. Well, we can safely say that they didn't know much. Even though she could not adopt Naruto, Akemi had officially become Naruto's legal guardian, and Satoshi, who was one of the few who wanted to make it up to the boy for mistreating him in the past, decided that he will make sure that Naruto's inheritance stays safe. Then there was the certain fact that the Namikaze compound was sealed shut, and was accessible only to a Namikaze, which happens to be none other than Naruto himself, and even if they somehow managed to open the compound, highly unlikely. There is nothing of value left in the compound, as Minato had everything moved to the Uzumaki compound when he moved there. Since none of them held much attachment to the compound itself, it was considered as collateral damage. If the compound is given to Uchiha Shin, legally, Namikaze Minato will be declared as the last Namikaze, which will make it easier for Naruto to leave. In that meeting itself, Naruto was declared as the Uzumaki clan heir, and was decided that the boy will become clan head when he becomes genin. Akemi had taken it up on herself to teach Naruto the necessary skills for a clan heir. She also taught him how to cook, manage his money, and take care of the house, and mainly chakra control. Unknown to Akemi, Naruto had also taught himself the shadow clone technique, which was an original Uzumaki technique, and was using it to up his training regime. The specialty of shadow clones were all mentioned in the scroll he read. Akemi is going to throw a fit when she finds out, but Naruto decided that he will cross that bridge when the time comes. So that 2 weeks was quite productive in Naruto's opinion. The first day he returned to the academy, the experience was not something he expected. He clearly predicted the reaction of the adults. Some were regretful, some were suspicious, and most chose to ignore him, but there was no hate, which put him at ease. He doubted he could stay sane if he was assaulted with constant hate now that he had his emotion-sensing ability. It was the reaction of the children that hurt him most. He knew that everyone was aware of him being the ex-Jinchuriki, including the children. Everyone knew the new Jinchuriki as well. The kids hated him. They thought he was weak and almost got them killed because of Naruto's stupidity. They never called him a demon or monster, but they said he was a useless waste, someone not worth the fourth sacrifice. He thought they would accept him once they knew, but he had been wrong. The adults no longer hated him, but the children now did, for entirely different reasons. Naruto felt like screaming that it was not his fault that he was almost killed. It was not his fault he was tortured. Naruto kept his head high and refused to cry as he entered the classroom. Almost everyone was hateful towards him. All their emotion was driving him crazy. He saw the village's current hero smirking at him, arrogantly. Shin had jet black hair styled just like his father's. In fact, he looked just like a mini Fugaku, with a paler complexion. Beside him sat his twin, Sasuke Uchiha. Before Shin had been proclaimed hero, Sasuke was considered the prince of the academy. Things are different now. It is visible in the way Sasuke glares at Naruto and Shin. At Naruto for being the reason that Shin was made a hero, and at Shin for probably taking away the attention he secretly loved. Shin was always jealous of Sasuke. Now he had the upper hand. Fugaku no longer cared for Sasuke. In his narrow-minded world only his Jinchuriki son existed now. It was all part of an elaborate plan. They didn't want to turn him into a demon host at first, but someone had pointed out a little fact that the Sharingan was once improved using the Kyuubi's chakra, a clan secret passed down from the first Uchiha himself. So why couldn't they do it again? If they had the Kyuubi, it was only a matter of time before the Jinchuriki got enough control to use the chakra to raise the Sharingan to a new level. Shin had offered himself to become the demon host so that he could gain some kind of acknowledgement from his father, but he got way more than that. He struck jackpot. Sasuke and Itachi no longer mattered. It was only their mother that cared for those two now, but his father always told him that woman was worthless and weak, so he really didn't care. Naruto was starting to feel suffocated due to the sheer amount of disgust and hatred. That's when Naruto felt it, a strong wave of some emotion that made him warm, comfortable and safe. There was an undercurrent of love and guilt. He could not pinpoint who the emotions were coming from, but he felt that it was directed towards him, and from another source he felt a great deal of understanding and anger, the latter not directed towards him. He was confused. Trying to pinpoint the location of those emotions was like looking for someone from the middle of a crowd. Naruto saw an empty bench at the back and sat there. He was sure no one would sit next to him. He was broken out of his musings when someone sat on his right side. He glanced up surprised. It was a boy with short spiky red hair. He was taller than Naruto and had mesmerizing golden eyes. His skin was a beautiful shade of ivory, and he was very good looking for someone his age, almost ethereal. Naruto was sure that the boy wasn't in this class last year. Hello? Naruto said, nervous for some unknown reason. I am Naruto Uzumaki, he said shyly. The boy smirked, showing sharp canines. Kayashiro Kazama. Naruto smiled brightly. The boy suddenly put his hand around Naruto's shoulder and leaned close to Naruto and whispered in Naruto's ear, I am hurt. Did you forget me so fast? Naruto. The words that were almost purred out caused Naruto's eyes to widen. Q? Surprise followed by happiness, then excitement. Naruto almost jumped onto the older boy's lap as he hugged him. The kitsune only chuckled as he held him. We'll talk later, okay? Kyubi said, and Naruto nodded. He felt the same feeling he felt earlier. He knew now what it was. Q was always protective of him. He smiled happily. Just then someone else sat down on Naruto's other side. Naruto and Kyubi, I'm gonna call him Kaishiro from now on, turned to look at the newcomer. Naruto knew the girl. She was Yumiko, an orphan. She was almost antisocial, with how she avoids most of the other students. But Naruto knew that it wasn't that she was antisocial, but more like she had some kind of distaste towards clan children and most other children that worshipped the clan heirs. She had curled chocolate brown hair that ended at her shoulders, she had milky pale skin, pouty pink lips and wide eyes that were a really light shade of purple, and if not for the fact that her eyes had pupils, she would definitely pass for a Hyuga. She was cute and innocent looking, beautiful like a porcelain doll. Her face had an almost bored expression, and was observing the two boys casually. "Am Yumiko," she said casually and turned to look at the front of the class. A light smirk lit her face as she said the next words, "You should get out of his lap, the class is about to start." Naruto blushed at seeing that he was indeed still in Kaishiro's lap. He moved and properly sat in the middle of them both. Naruto knew that the other person he felt earlier was her. She still had that emotion, as if she understood what he felt. Then there was also doubt. She doubted herself. They kept quiet as their new sensei, Iruka, started the class. As boring as history is, Akemi will kill him if he didn't learn, saying that it was necessary for a clan heir. She even bought him book on the history of other hidden villages, as if Konoha wasn't enough. Sure, he liked books more now, but that didn't mean he had to love them, especially history. Then came the exercises, and everyone was led outside. It was simple, but Naruto became quickly tired and his body hurt all over. He fell to his knees as the pain increased. Yumiko and Kaishiro were near him in an instant holding him. He didn't know why Yumiko cared, but he knew that she did. Iruka stood uncertainly. He had no idea what to do with the ex-Jinchuriki, but made up his mind when he thought that the kid was his student. He rushed over to Naruto. The other kids snickered, whispering that Naruto was a worthless weakling. All four of them heard it, and Naruto's eyes became watery, but he refused to cry. He felt the anger oozing from the three that were holding him, not at all directed at him. Iruka felt guilty that he ignored the boy. He knew how hard it was to deal with bullying. He made up his mind that he will help the boy in any way he can. "Are you okay, Naruto-kun?" Iruka asked. If the suffix didn't surprise him, the compassion he felt from the young chunin surprised Naruto. He nodded numbly. "Akemi-ne-chan had told me to take it slow. The resealing had damaged my muscles quite a bit, and that they are still tender from the rapid healing. She said that it will be back to normal within a month," Naruto said with a smile. The chunin nodded with a gentle smile. "You should have told me. There is no problem if you need to sit out of the exercise for a month." "No, Ne-chan said that the exercise will be good for my muscles," Naruto said. The chunin nodded and led Naruto to the classroom to rest. The rest of the day went calmly, if you ignore the ridicule. For some reason, Yumiko didn't sit with them after the incident during exercise. Naruto and Kaishiro both felt her emotional turmoil, and decided to leave her alone for now. After class, Naruto had to talk with Iruka. The Hokage wanted to speak with Kaishiro, so he had to leave. Naruto was asking Iruka about being able to use the shinobi library. Iruka set him up a library card happily, and told him that he can have access up to the genin level of the library. Naruto was happy. His clan scrolls lacked medical scrolls, which was something that caught his interest. There were a few medical techniques, but all of them were too high level for him to understand right away, so he decided that the ninja library was the best place to look for the basics. He didn't want to disturb Akemi now that she was busy with the council as well. As soon as he stepped out of the academy building, someone pushed him to the ground. Naruto looked up and saw some older kids. They were sneering at him. He felt that Yumiko was watching him as the kids ridiculed him. She was expecting him to do something, anything. But as always, he simply endured what they did. It was a habit he picked up after all the times he got beaten up for talking back. Finally, when they started to beat him up, she grew desperate. He knew she was worried, and when she was sure that Naruto had no plan of escaping or fighting back, she acted. The older kids didn't stand a chance. Her taijutsu was flawless, for an academy student, and her style was precise and swift. She gave them a warning to stay away and lifted Naruto off the ground. The older kids soon left. She took him to the pond a little away from the academy. Naruto gave her a small smile. He was all healed thanks to his bloodline. He was about to thank her when she slapped him in the face. He sat on the ground stunned. "You idiot! Why didn't you at least try to fight back? Why are you such a coward?" she yelled. Naruto looked down, feeling her disappointment. She was angry and disappointed, but it all drained away when she heard him speak. "It always gets worse when I fight back." She understood. She knew he was treated badly when he was the Jinchuriki. She sighed and sat down next to him, looking at their reflection in the water. "You should fight back. At least try. Don't let those scums put you down." Naruto knew she was speaking from her own experience. So he nodded silently. She looked at him analytically. I know how it feels when others call you worthless for something you can't control, she mumbled. But you shouldn't let them get to you. Strive to prove them wrong, that's what I do. Naruto looked at her sadly. First they hated me for containing a demon, now they hate me for not being able to contain it. I feel like they'll never stop hating me. She nodded. Hey, let's be friends, she said suddenly. Naruto blinked at her, almost not sure what she said. She nodded to her own suggestion without waiting for his reply. That's decided then. You are going to be my friend from now on. So we should properly introduce to each other. My name is Yumiko, no last name. I live in the orphanage. I like chilled soba. I also like sweet apples and chocolate. My hobbies include trying to develop a new fighting style and gardening. I hate stuck-up clan people. My wish is to become strong and respected. Naruto nodded, smiling, but then frowned. I am from a clan too, you know. He was nervous that he would lose his friend. She looked startled, and then she saw that he was afraid. She had hated clans for a long time, but seeing the boy in front of her, something forced her to give him a chance. So she smiled stiffly. It's fine as long as you don't end up as a stuck-up bastard. And when she saw the sweet smile he gave her, she was sure that she made the right choice. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like. Later, when Kaishiro came back to find Naruto, he found the boy giggling and talking animatedly with that girl from earlier. Yo, he said, appearing directly behind Naruto. Naruto screamed and fell onto the pond. Yumiko saw the smirking Kaishiro and both of them laughed when Naruto came up looking like a wet kitten. Name's Kaishiro, he said to Yumiko, extending a hand for her to shake. She stared at him for a moment, and then shook his hand with a slight smile. Naruto waited till they held hands and pulled Kaishiro's leg, causing both him and Yumiko to fall in the water. He laughed like a maniac, which soon turned into a girly shriek as the other two teamed up on him. Well, as they say, that was the beginning of a wonderful friendship and the birth of Konoha's prankster trio. Later at the Uzumaki compound. So, Kyo, what are you doing here? Naruto asked, excited. Well, I promised that I'll come see you again, didn't I? Kaishiro asked, smirking. That you did. But I didn't expect to see you like this. Well, Inari-sama said that he needed someone to be with you when he couldn't. So I volunteered, seeing as it was a perfect opportunity to spend some time with my friend. Naruto jumped and tackled Kaishiro into a hug. Kaishiro chuckled. You are going to be living here from now on. I am not going to let you go, you know. And both of them laughed, happy to be with each other. The Hokage knew who Kaishiro was and he trusted the transformed fox, so Hiruzen had added Kaishiro to the list of orphans they had saved from Root. Since none of those children had any records, no one suspected Kaishiro among them. It was explained to the council that he was from the Kazama clan, which was essentially a branch clan of the Uzumaki. Therefore, Kaishiro had no trouble getting officially added to the Uzumaki clan. What Kaishiro didn't mention was the fact that, for a spirit guardian to retain a solid human form, she would need to actually inhabit a human body. Inari had to create a human body for Kaishiro to use. And by inhabiting the human body, Kaishiro had lost all his spiritual powers. The only power he retained was his shape-shifting, and that too needed to be learned again, since his brand new body had no experience. Inari had warned him, but he did it anyway. After all, this bundle of sunshine was worth it. Time skip. Naruto awoke with a grin. Today was graduation day. He looked at his sleeping companions. He knew Kaishiro was awake but was too lazy to get out of the bed. He remedied that with a well-placed kick. Kaishiro, who had not been anticipating this, fell out of bed with a shriek which woke Yumiko. Naruto snickered when Kaishiro glared at him. Yumiko sat up, blinked, then pulled Naruto back into bed before falling asleep cuddling him. Naruto sighed. This was the daily occurrence at the Uzumaki clan house. Ever since they met 6 years ago, they had become inseparable, and insufferable too, to some of their prank victims, which often happens to be either Hyuga or Uchiha. Yumiko liked the Uzumaki clan because of how they treated their clan members, and Uzumaki always protects their family. So 2 years after they met, when Naruto asked her to legally join his clan, she was surprised and delighted. She had agreed eagerly. Both of them already considered each other as siblings and technically lived at the compound. They were even happier when Naruto mentioned blood adoption. The Uzumaki seal, the one which Kushina gave him, had deemed him ready at the age of 9, and all the knowledge of the Uzumaki was slowly integrating into his system. That's how he knew about the blood adoption. One should be the clan head to approve the adoption, and since the seal had recognized that Naruto was ready, he had no problem doing it. The academy teachers, especially Irika, had a fit when Yumiko suddenly became Yumiko Uzumaki. Since blood adoption was not that popular even among clans, and the fact that there is no Uzumaki old enough to adopt, the teachers thought that they got married or something. They played around with the idea for some time, never wasting an opportunity for a prank, before telling Irika the truth. The students still didn't know, since the trio was never in class. It was on Yumiko's 10th birthday, her first birthday after she joined the clan, that they told her everything. They knew she was trustworthy and did not want to keep their friend in the dark any longer. She had surprised them by, instead of being angry or sad, had proclaimed Kaishiro as the prankster king, because he was a fox and foxes are pranksters. Naruto did not agree, which led to a prank war between Kaishiro and Naruto to see who the best prankster was. And after the war, when they stood there getting scolded by Akemi, Yumiko had came and proclaimed that she was the best prankster because she could make them prank each other effortlessly. This earned her 2 sets of adorable pouts from the boys and a whack in the head by Akemi. Then Yumiko had told the boys that she will be coming with them when they leave, whether they like it or not. Yumiko, when she first met Akemi, was skeptical, because she hated the Hyuga clan, but she soon understood that it was hard to hate Akemi when she always fusses over them like a mother hen. Yumiko had later revealed that she used to be a Hyuga, and when they found out she wouldn't develop her Byakugan, her own father had asked to banish her from the clan because she was a disgrace to the Hyuga name, and she was only 4 years old when this happened. Her mother had died when she was 2. These incidents only brought them together. Inari visited whenever he could. All 3 of them liked to call him Tu-chan now. Kaishiro was at first reluctant, since Inari was his lord and all, but Inari, Naruto, and Yumiko pranked him till he agreed. Most of the time they came home to find Inari curled up on the sofa, mumbling about paperwork, shadow clone and fried tofu. He trained them sometimes and had let all 3 of them sign the Fox contract. Along the way they had discovered their talents. Naruto was exceptionally good in sealing. He was currently at level 15, and was sure that he would reach level 18 in a few months. This was amazing considering that 20 was the highest level of Uzumaki sealing and no one ever came even near the 18th level. Jiraiya himself was only at the level 17. He also excelled in using the chakra chains. Jiraiya had taught Naruto the Rasengan on his 9th birthday. He was trying to crack the Hiraishin now. He also developed a new taijutsu style all for himself, with help from Yumiko and Inari. He analyzed the Sora taijutsu style and mixed it with the Uzumaki and Namikaze style to create a fast and deadly style called the Dancing Wind. He had also mastered chakra control. And just like he promised Inari, he had the best chakra control in the academy. It was near Jonin level. Akemi had taken it up on herself to teach him medic ninjutsu, while helping Naruto increase his chakra control even more. He had learned many ninjutsu from the clan scrolls as well. Currently he should be high Chunin level, if not for the lack of experience. Naruto, while reading about his clan, had found out that they have a connection with samurais and most Uzumakis were sword masters. Uzumaki's also a tradition in the clan for males to have long hair, so Naruto decided that he would keep his hair long to respect his clan, and because of constant persuasion, death threats, from Yumiko and Akemi who just adored his hair, the soft, golden strands now reached just above his waist. He also took to learning the Uzumaki Kenjutsu style, and uses a katana. It was a family heirloom and was even used by his mother, and was named Akaike's. Naruto had grown over the years and was no longer fit to be called short. This was something Naruto rejoiced over. He now wore a black tank top underneath a light gray leather jacket and umbu-style black pants. He didn't wear any weapon holders or any weapons at all. His long hair was always neatly held together in a high ponytail. He would be considered the top good-looking kid if he ever showed his face often. Most of the times the 3 were busy training, and whenever they pull a prank, they always vanish without a trace. So it's safe to say not many people saw them these days. Kaishiro, who had to sacrifice all his powers in order to become human so that he could stay close to Naruto, had to relearn everything he knew from scratch. He mastered his shape-shifting. He was used to his claws when fighting. The lack of that in his new body was also disappointing. Well, that was before they found the Uzumaki armory. There Kaishiro had met his love, a set metal claw gauntlets with retractable claws. It was love at first sight. The entire thing was black, with golden claws, and it was made of chakra-conducting metal. He also had a fascination with swords, but he preferred 2 sword styles. There was a sword style he had once seen used by a young woman when he was still Kyuubi, and he wanted to recreate the style. Although he didn't have full knowledge, he developed a style based on that one and named it the Raging Fox style. He uses twin katana, both with midnight black blade and seals engraved all along the blade and its guard. The seals were done by an ancestor of the Uzumaki clan. They were named Senshi and Tamashi. Kaishiro too had his own taijutsu style. It was named Dancing Flames. He was very tall for his age, and had kept his red hair short, and it remained wild. He wore a white tank top under a black hooded jacket and black leather pants with matching boots. He too had no weapons on him. Kaishiro was to explain it simply, hot. Yumiko had achieved her dream of developing her own taijutsu style. She was the one who finished her style first, and had suggested that all 3 of them have a style unique to themselves, and had helped her friends develop theirs. Her style was the Dancing Mist style. All 3 of the taijutsu styles were designed so as to perfectly complement each other. Their taijutsu styles made so that they work well together. She also had started to develop her own genjutsu. The other 2 absolutely sucked at genjutsu. All they knew was how to break out of one, and most genjutsu didn't affect them anyway. When she joined the Uzumaki clan via blood adoption, there was a huge jump in her chakra capacity. She had cursed Naruto to hell and back for destroying her chakra control and then hugged him for making her family, and so she had to retrain her chakra control. Then Naruto had taught her the shadow clones. She could make about 200 clones, whereas the other 2 had no limit. But even so, their training had leapt of the record. She was the same height as Naruto, and had let her brown hair grow long. She kept it in a bun, with curled bangs framing her delicate face. She wore a black battle kimono with golden flames decorating it. Then they started learning things that they don't usually bother with, the wonders of shadow clone, because Akemi had warned them that over-specialization was a weakness. So, all three of them had at least high genin level knowledge in almost everything. The academy was boring, since they had clones reading almost every history books available about all shinobi nations and then some. They also studied about allied villages, trade routes and non-shinobi villages. Since they will have to settle down in some other village later, the hostility between the other students had not changed much. Only that, now all three of them were considered outcasts. Naruto was a bit depressed that this was because of himself, but had snapped out of it when Kaishiro and Yumiko literally threw him down from the academy roof saying that he needs to cheer up. The result was another prank war, but Naruto was never depressed after that. Shin seems to have some kind of addiction to ridiculing them. It was because Mr. Prince had ordered that the three were often treated poorly. Kaishiro hated the way Shin stared at Yumiko and Naruto. He knew that Shin would automatically hate them because Naruto had the divine chakra which was inherently against the chakra that Shin contained. It was just instinct for them to be wary of each other, and as both Yumiko and Kaishiro are close to Naruto, he would hate them as well. Kaishiro could tell that Shin hated him, but it wasn't exactly hatred that he felt from Shin whenever he was staring at either of his friends. It was another disgusting emotion that should not be present in a child so young. At first he had thought it was the chakra corrupting him, but Inari had promised that the chakra will not affect the boy's mind whatsoever. Kaishiro was protective of both of them whenever Shin was around. Naruto too felt the emotion radiating off of Shin, and it made his skin crawl. The trio often skipped class because either they were bored, or Shin was staring at them. Iruka had been worried at first and had scolded them about skipping classes, but when the trio scored perfect marks in all the exams despite not attending classes, he decided to let them be. But even though all three scored perfect scores and were often the top three, they never allowed Iruka to announce that fact, and the entire class believed that they were useless. Well, those opinions will change soon. Chapter 6. Naruto, Yumiko and Kaishiro sat at the back of the class. No one had noticed them yet except Iruka. They had arrived right when Iruka came in, and sat in the back after a quick nod to Iruka. The trio were wondering who their teacher will be. They knew they would pass and Hiruzen had said that they would be placed on the same team as well. The only thing they weren't sure of was who their teacher will be. Iruka had finished his speech and was calling the names of the students to take the exam. The written test was easy and all three of them made sure that they had full marks. It was when everyone went out for weapons throwing that the other students really saw the trio. Nearly all of their eyes bulged. The trio was quite good looking. Most people couldn't stop ogling. Naruto sighed, having gotten used to these emotions whenever they had to go in public. So the losers are back. Kiba Inuzuka said arrogantly. He had gotten over the surprise at seeing the three. Naruto was the one who was almost unrecognizable. How that midget had grown into this, they could only guess. And with the whisker marks almost invisible, it was hard to recognize him. The only answer he got was a scoff from Naruto, a feigned smirk from Kaishiro and an indifferent look from Yumiko. Shin stared at the three. As always, Kaishiro was with Naruto and Yumiko. Whenever Shin saw them, that bastard was with them. But that didn't stop him from ogling the objects of his desire. The power he could always feel from Naruto was now absent, which confused him. Naruto had made a seal so that none of their chakra could be sensed by those except a select few people. Kaishiro looked at Shin with a cool glare that clearly said to back off. Shin growled, but Iruka interrupted by starting calling names. One by one each of them went and did the weapon throwing. So far Sasuke and Shin had highest marks. The only girl with decent marks was Hinata, but even that was not much. Shin smirked at Kaishiro, who in turn just ignored him. Finally, when it came to the trio, most people had their jaws on the ground as all three of them scored perfect marks. They did nothing flashy, but their scores were surprising enough. Sensei, there's something wrong, those three cheated. There's no way those losers could beat Shin-sama. Sakura Haruno, an annoying pink midget, screeched. Geez Haruno, stop screeching. Some of us have sensitive ears. Kaishiro said, annoyed. Her screeching hadn't bothered him due to the seal Naruto had designed, but it was worth seeing the look on Pinky's face. You cheater. Pinky screeched again. Yes sensei, they cheated. The rest of the Shin fan club, SFC, agreed. Naruto was the one who answered. So what you are saying is that we cheated to get perfect scores in weapon throwing. How exactly we cheated? We don't know, but you did. Ino Yamanaka said in her great wisdom. That means that you are accusing us without any evidence. Yumiko drawled. Sensei, did you see us cheat? Iruka and the other white-haired Chunin, Mizuki, who was with him, shook their head in negative. So there is no evidence at all. Kaishiro said. But you did. Pinky again. If we did, then we must be quite the ninjas, to be able to cheat in front of 2 academy instructors who are Chunin and 50 academy students without leaving any evidence behind. Go find the evidence, Pinky, or just admit that we are too good either way. Naruto said, smirking. Alright, that's enough. Iruka cut in and stopped the problem before it got too bad. Next was the ninjutsu portion. They aced it. And walked out with their headbands. Naruto winked at Sakura as he passed by, earning a growl in return. Let's go to Ichiraku and celebrate. Naruto said, grinning. Sure. But I want sushi later. Yumiko said. And tofu. Kayashiro added. All three of them sat inside the Ichiraku ramen shop after placing their order. This was the only place they would often visit. Hey boys. The ramen chef's daughter called out. I am a girl. Yumiko mumbled. No matter how many times they argued, always calls her a boy just to tease her. So you are ninjas now, huh? Said happily. Yup. And we are soon going to surpass the Sannin. Naruto said, grinning. Well, good luck with that, I'll get your orders. As left, Naruto turned serious. Did you do it? Naruto asked Kayashiro, who scoffed. Who do you take me for? Yes, I placed the tracker on that white-haired bastard when you two made the distraction. So he is going to act today, huh? Yumiko asked thoughtfully. Ever since that bastard started teaching at the academy, I had gotten a bad feeling from him. He is incredibly nervous today. He is going to act soon. It may not even be anything serious, but better safe than sorry. Naruto said. Does the Hokage know yet? Not yet. We don't have anything solid to start disturbing the Hokage. Kayashiro shrugged. The whole village seems busy. Yumiko mumbled. Do you think they placed the graduation on their hero's birthday on purpose? Naruto scoffed. With these people, it is a possibility. And the party provides enough distraction for Mizuki to do what he wishes. I feel bad for the other one, Kayashiro said. Naruto understood who Kayashiro was talking about. Sasuke Uchiha, the hero's brother. A shame, really. That kid has a lot of potential, and he wasted all being broody. We can't blame him when everyone who used to put him in a high pedestal suddenly acts as if he is not worth it. Yumiko said. That's no reason for him to be like that. He still has a loving mother and older brother, Itachi, yet he chooses to ignore them. Naruto said. Their further conversation was interrupted when arrived with their food. They gladly dug into the food. He is going to get here in 5 minutes. Kayashiro said as he used shape-shifting to change into a tree branch. Naruto and Yumiko nodded at each other, and Naruto disappeared into the foliage. Mizuki didn't know how it happened, but one moment he was sailing through the tree branches with the forbidden scroll, and the next, a tree branch had tripped him and he had fallen face first into the ground. He swears that he heard the tree branch snicker. The excitement must have got to my head, he thought. Sensei, what are you doing here? Mizuki, surprised by the newcomer, turned and saw a tired-looking Yumiko standing looking at him with a curious expression. She had dirt covering her attire, which was ripped in several places, and sweat dribbling down her forehead. She looks delicious, the pervert thought idly. Naruto was doing his best in his newfound ability to boost the emotions of others. He made sure to boost the self-confidence Mizuki had into overconfidence and arrogance. He didn't really had to do anything with the lust that was growing on its own. Perverted pedophile, he thought, disgusted. I have time. It's not like anyone knows that the scroll is missing. I made sure of that. I have time, so why not indulge a little? Mizuki stood up and looked at Yumiko in such a way that it made her shiver in disgust. Well, I was just going somewhere, Mizuki said as he stepped towards the girl. Sensei, is that the forbidden scroll? Yumiko asked wide-eyed. So you recognized it, huh? Mizuki gave a dark chuckle. He knew the girl was starting to get it. But, what are you doing with it? Yumiko asked, alarmed. Oh, I was just going to give it to Orochimaru so that he would make me his right-hand man. I'm sick and tired of Konoha. He chuckled as he stepped forward. He saw the fear in the quivering girl's eyes. Before she had time to act, he jumped forward and had her pinned her against the tree. Let me go, you bastard. Is that the way to treat your sensei, Yumiko-chan? Now I'll have to punish you. Mizuki brought his lips down on her lips in a bruising kiss. His other hand roamed the body of the terrorized girl and he began to. Well, that was easy, Naruto said, looking at the frozen form of Mizuki, the effect of Yumiko's genjutsu. Disgusting pig. Yumiko growled. She could guess what he was seeing inside the genjutsu. Kayashiro knocked him out and tied him up. We should get back to the Hokage and report. Yeah, let's go, Naruto said, but a voice from behind him made him freeze. Well, that was quite impressive for fresh genin. The mysterious male voice said with a chuckle. Naruto didn't even get a chance to turn back before a powerful kick to his back sent him through a tree. Nero! Cried Yumiko, while Kayashiro stood frozen as he saw the masked man before him. It was him, the same masked Uchiha that had released him from Kushina. The orange swirl mask with only a single Sharingan. I mocked him. He was snapped out of it. When the masked man appeared before him and delivered a powerful kick to his abdomen, he suffered the same fate as Naruto. Yumiko engaged the man in a taijutsu match without wasting a moment. But the man was too powerful for her to handle. She soon joined her friends. Yumiko coughed out blood as she was slammed into the tree. At least a few bones were broken. As soon as the man kicked the girl away, white chakra chains shot out from behind him and he jumped away from them gracefully. Oh, that seems familiar, the man said in fake curiosity. I get it. You are Naruto Uzumaki, or should I say Namikaze? The slight pause that Naruto gave was enough for the man as he passed through the chains like a ghost and took a hold of Naruto's neck. Naruto chocked. Blood was still flowing from the wound he received when he had crashed into the tree. Out of nowhere, he got a kunai and buried it into Naruto's stomach. Naruto let out a strangled cry. Your father and mother caused me a lot of trouble, the man giggled. Kayashiro tried to kick the man from behind, but he simply took a hold of the extended leg, and used it to slam the red head into the ground and again into a tree. But before he could do more, a kunai was past his hand, forcing him to drop Kaishiro. Naruto, who was hanging from the man's arm, kicked him in the face so that he too was released. He then removed the kunai, the skin healed, stopping the bleeding, but for some reason, his healing had become too slow for his liking. He could also feel a huge and rapid drain in his chakra for some unknown reason. Well, suffice to say, they were in deep shit. The trio regrouped and took the scroll. The man stood there watching as the three battered children stood trying to protect the scroll, even though they knew he wasn't exactly interested in the scroll alone. The scroll disappeared as Naruto sealed it within a storage seal in his palm, in the blink of an eye. The man kept watching the trio with interest. Will they run or will they fight? Both options were not in their favor. Yumiko gave a nod to the boys. They will have to wait till reinforcements arrived. So stalling and trying to survive was the only thing they could do. Clearly the man was beyond them in every way. Kaishiro unsealed Senshi and Tamashi. Yumiko and Naruto began rapidly going through the hand signs. Kaishiro rushed forward to fight the man, but even he knew it was useless. The swords would simply pass through him. But to his immense surprise, the seals on the two katana glowed as they passed through the man. Kaishiro smirked when he understood what was happening. The man felt his chakra reserves draining rapidly as each cut passed through him. That's when he noticed the seals. Annoying Uzumaki seals, he deduced. After that he avoided each cut, but his chakra reserves had taken a major drain. He growled as he sidestepped another slash, and then delivered a devastating uppercut to Kaishiro. Kaishiro was thrown aside, but then only the man saw the dragon made of intense red flames heading towards him. He stood there not bothering to dodge. The attack would just pass through him anyway, but to his and everyone else's surprise the dragon hit him dead on. Blinking out of their surprise, they used the opportunity presented to them and escaped, sealing Mizuki inside a scroll as well. The masked man lay there among the flames. He wasn't dead, that much was sure, and they didn't want to be anywhere near when he recovered. Earlier that evening, Sasuke stood bored while getting congratulated by the nobles and villagers who came to the party. The party was not even meant for him, even though it was his birthday as well. He knew that. Everyone present here had came to see his hero of a twin brother. Though Fugaku would never say it, this party meant for Shin and Shin alone, but it would reflect badly on the Uchiha name should Sasuke be absent. So Sasuke could not skip this even if he dearly wanted to. So far the only ones paying attention to him were the people who couldn't get Shin's attention, so had to settle for Sasuke instead. This fact was clearly annoying, and the smug smirk on Shin's face was even more annoying. His mother, who was standing with Fugaku and greeting the guests, as expected of the Uchiha matriarch, looked at him apologetically every time she got a chance, unlike Fugaku, who ignored his third child altogether. And even though Sasuke would never admit it to anyone, to not even himself, the small glances sent by his mother meant more than anything his father could ever provide. Sasuke looked around. There was no one left to arrive. He had greeted every important guest who had arrived, so it was time for a strategic retreat, unless he wanted to create a scene by using a fire jutsu on that ass of a brother of his. So he went to his father and mother and carefully excused himself, saying that he was too tired. Fugaku didn't care, but Makoto looked at him concerned, but she understood her son's need to get out, so didn't delay him by any unnecessary questions and simply nodded with a small sad smile. Sasuke went straight to a training ground, far enough so that none of the guests or any other Uchiha see him there. His careful planning was foiled when he came face to face with another Uchiha, which just so happens to be Shursui. "Oi, Squirt, what are you doing here?" Shursui asked, surprised. "Me? Why are you here?" "Itachi said that he and you had an Umbu mission today, so then what are you doing here?" Sasuke asked with eyes narrowed. "The same thing you are doing, little brother." Itachi's voice from the nearby tree made him jump in surprise. "You are here too? Wait, does that mean you came here so that you don't have to use a fireball on Shin's ass?" Sasuke asked, amused. Shursui chuckled. Even Itachi cracked a smile. "Not exactly, but almost same reason. There was no Umbu mission, was there? You used that as a reason to skip the stupid party." Sasuke accused with a barely noticeable pout, but it was still there. "Why didn't you get me out of there too?" Whining was allowed when the Uchiha was tired, irritated and cranky. Shursui outright laughed. "Well, we could hardly say that you have an Umbu mission. And is that the great Sasuke Uchiha whining?" Sasuke gave a great Uchiha glare to Shursui, who shrugged it off, having gotten used to an even higher level glares from the boy's older brother. "You sure seem cranky on your birthday, Sasuke. I remember that I have yet to give you any birthday gift, so here," Itachi said and tossed the scroll to Sasuke. Sasuke looked at the scroll and back to his brother with wide eyes. "Is this?" "Yes, the summoning contract for ravens. I obtained it several years back on a mission. I was the first to sign the contract, and now I wish to teach it to you." Sasuke grinned. "Yes." He, the almighty Sasuke Uchiha, grinned, but who cares when he just got a summoning contract before his annoying twin? Wow, it's actually kind of disturbing seeing an Uchiha actually grinning. Shursui shuddered, but even that couldn't ruin Sasuke's mood. "Oi, Sasu-chan, don't you want to know what my gift is?" This got Sasuke's attention. Sasuke mentally prepared himself for yet another prank. "I am going to teach you how to use a tanto." "Huh?" Sasuke was dumbfounded. He was kind of expecting another prank, Shursui chuckled evilly. Let the torture begin. Sasuke was dead tired. He could barely stand on his feet. When Shursui meant torture, he actually wasn't joking. Sasuke had signed the summoning contract, but Itachi said that they will begin training to summon later. So Shursui taught him how to use a tanto. No one who knew Shursui would believe that the young man was a very demanding teacher. Sasuke found out the hard way, but even as he was slung on his older brother's shoulder, Sasuke had a content expression on his face. Best birthday ever. Here, take this. Itachi gave him a chakra pill and some water, which Sasuke took gratefully. Once he regained a bit of his energy, they began their trek back home. The party would have ended hours ago. As they neared the Uchiha compound, they knew something was wrong. A wave of trepidation flipped Sasuke's heart. Something was very wrong. Itachi and Shursui were instantly on guard. They nodded at each other. Itachi made a shadow clone. The clone took a hold of Sasuke. Sasuke, wait here. Itachi and Shursui entered the compound without giving him a chance to protest. It only passed a second before he felt it. Like a veil being lifted, Genjutsu Sasuke's eyes widened. Then everything became unbearable. He could smell the blood even this far away from the compound. Mother Itachi. Sasuke felt worry grip his heart like never before. The shadow clone gripped his shoulder in silent comfort, but there was frown marring the clone's face. Itachi appeared beside them in a shunshin. In his hands was a blood-drenched Mikoto. Mother Sasuke almost yelled. Not her, oh God, please don't take her. His heart was pounding painfully as he gazed at the barely breathing form of his mother. Itachi, what? Take her to the hospital. Go with the clone Sasuke and make sure she is fine. Now go. Itachi ordered before he once again vanished, probably to head back inside the compound. The clone took a hold of his hand and the three of them vanished in a shunshin. Everything after arriving at the hospital was a blur. The doctors rushed away with his mother. The Itachi clone held him as everything happened. Suddenly the clone dispelled in a puff of smoke. Shocked, Sasuke could only remember one thing. A clone dispelling meant that either the user dispelled it himself, was out of chakra, unconscious or, and that was first time since he was 4, which Sasuke cried. He cried praying that his brother was alright. The Umbu arrived carrying 3 people. His 2 brothers and Shursui. Sasuke recognized them and his blood run cold as he saw the bleeding gash on Itachi's chest. Shursui had his own tanto buried in his chest. Of the 3, Shin was the one who seemed better off, only unconscious it seemed. And Sasuke felt angry. Why did that bastard be the one safe? It felt like an eternity that Sasuke sat in the hospital corridor. The Hokage came and sat beside the frozen boy. Are there any other survivors? Sasuke asked quietly. He heard from the doctors about the massacre. I am afraid not. Sasuke didn't really care. The only ones he cared about were inside the hospital hanging between death and life. A female doctor came out, a Hyuga. She had a professional expression on her face and Sasuke didn't want to listen to what she had to say anymore. That was the face they wore when they had a bad news. Hokage-sama. She bowed. Akemi, how are they? So this was Hyuga Akemi, one with healing prowess second to Tsunade alone. We lost one of them, Hokage-sama. Sasuke thought that the entire hall could hear his heart beating. The Hokage sent a sad look at the boy. Who? Uchiha Shursui. She said with a hint of sadness. Sasuke couldn't suppress the shaking of his body, but he kept his head down, not letting anyone see his tears. The others? Uchiha Itachi is stable, the bleeding has stopped, and he will make it. But Uchiha Mikoto, she suffered too severe damage, Hokage-sama. Nothing can be said at the moment. We need to perform a surgery on her. The most positive outcome we will ever get is paralysis. Sasuke didn't know whether to be relieved or sad, but he was determined. He had heard something from the doctors earlier, something he dismissed as nothing, but with his mother's life on the line, he was willing to go away wild goose chase if it meant saving her. Can Naruto save her? Akemi's eyes widened at the question. She didn't bother asking how the boy knew. A lot of people knew about Naruto's healing prowess. It is a possibility, we can't be sure. But she will have more chance with Naruto here. Akemi said. Sasuke stood up determined. He already lost Shursui, and he will be damned if he lost his mother as well. I will go find him, he said, but another voice cut in before he could leave. That won't be necessary. All of them turned to look at the newcomer, which was none other than Kakashi himself holding an unconscious and still bleeding Naruto in his hand, and behind him stood 2 other Umbu, who were holding Yumiko and Kaishiro. All 3 of them looked half dead. Chapter 7. The first thing Naruto saw when he came to was the white ceiling. So we made it. He thought relieved. He looked to the side and saw Kaishiro and Yumiko, all of them made it. He sighed relieved. The nurse who was tending to Kaishiro turned to look at him. Oh, you are awake. I'll inform the doctor, she said with a light smile. Can you tell me the extent of our injuries? Naruto asked. Well, when you got here you all were pretty banged up, but it looked worse than it really was. The main injury you had was the half-healed wound on your stomach. Luckily it didn't graze any major organs. But you were completely out of chakra. I was what? For the few people who knew about Naruto's chakra capacity, that statement was ridiculous. He had 9 taels worth of chakra. For crying out loud, chakra exhaustion was something he should never have to face. A severe case of chakra exhaustion. The nurse said, confused as to what she said wrong. Naruto shook his head and, sorry, I'm still a bit disoriented. Please continue. The nurse nodded. Your friends had a couple of broken and bruised ribs. Other than that and a few bruises, they were fine. We have healed all of you, there's nothing to worry about. It has only been an hour since you got here. Naruto nodded. Out of the three of them, Naruto had the most chakra, yet he got a severe case of chakra exhaustion. How? He noticed the unusual drain in his chakra when he fought, but he thought that it was a technique that drained chakra from all three of them. Clearly that was not the case. He needs to wait for the others to wake up. He looked up when he heard a commotion from outside. To his immense surprise, Sasuke burst through the door frantically, followed by the nurse who had just went outside to call the doctor. Dab Naruto. This surprised Naruto. Since when did Sasuke become so polite to him? Sasuke? Naruto asked in a dubious tone. I need your help, PLPL please. Okay, that got Naruto's attention. Sasuke Uchiha never pleads. Never ever. 2 hours later, Akemi Hyuga exited the surgery with a sleepy, exhausted Naruto in her arms. Whatever chakra he had regained had been spent during the surgery. Naruto, who was half conscious, saw Sasuke, who stood anxiously to know about his mother. Naruto looked at Sasuke and gave thumbs up with a tired but triumphant grin. Akemi also gave him a smile. The Uchiha didn't even try to hide his relieved smile and the happy tears. A day later, the trio found themselves inside the Uzumaki household, along with Hiruzen, Kakashi and Jiraiya. So what happened? I know that Mizuki couldn't even put a scratch on you. Jiraiya started. You are right. It wasn't Mizuki, Yumiko said. Then she described the entire fight to them, right up to the moment they retreated and passed out in front of Kakashi. The three older men looked weary and grim. From what Itachi Uchiha has reported, it was the same masked man who massacred the Uchiha clan. The old Hokage said grimly. There is one more thing. Kayashiro said, getting everyone's attention. My memories from the time I've been under control is quite distorted. There are still large pieces I don't remember. But that masked man, when I saw him, a memory was triggered. He was the same Uchiha who released me from kushina 12 years ago. Most of them were wide-eyed. I somewhat remember him using the same phasing technique back then as well. This is troubling, Jiraiya said grimly. And there are a lot of things that happened during the fight that still doesn't make sense, like why Naruto's chakra drained so fast. And then, the phasing ability of that guy, it didn't work during the last time. Yumiko muttered. We have a lot to think about, Naruto said. Naruto walked along the hospital corridor. He came here often either to visit Akemi or to help out at the hospital. The last 2 days he was still recovering from the chakra loss. Luckily there was still 2 days left for the day of team announcement. As he turned a corner he locked eyes with a certain Uchiha. He was both surprised and pleased by the small nod of acknowledgement he got from Sasuke. It sounds strange, but the boy seems a lot less stuck up after his clan's near extinction. Maybe he realized what he had all along. He was still mourning for the death of his clan's men, or perhaps only for Shursui. Hello Sasuke, Naruto. He greeted back politely. I never got to properly thank you for what you did for mother. It's okay really. I really like your mother, she's a very kind woman. So I am happy that I got to help her. No need for any thanks. Whether Sasuke knew it or not, his face softened and his lips quirked in a slight smile as he thought of the kind woman that is his mother. Still I owe you one. Well, if you are so adamant, then treat me to some ramen sometime later, and maybe a spar or two. Naruto said, still smiling. You know, the students at the academy say a lot of things about the three of you. At first even I believed them, but now, I find myself disagreeing with all of them except one rumor. Sasuke said seriously, but Naruto could both see and sense the playful nature. Oh. And what's that? That you are ramen-obsessed pranksters. Naruto cracked a wide grin, causing Sasuke to smile as well. You should smile more, you know. Your mother would like that, and so would the others. See you later, Sasuke. I'll come visit your mother after I go meet Akemi Nezen. Naruto left Sasuke with a wave. Sasuke quickly hid the forming smile from prying eyes and went inside his mother's room. Naruto, you're here. How are you? Akemi asked with a smile. I am fine, Nezen. The others are fine as well. Good. I was going to come and check on you later. Now are you ready for today's lesson? True to his words, Naruto went to see Mikoto that evening. She truly was a pleasant woman, though he never actually got the chance of properly meeting her. Mikoto was happy that he came to visit her. She was shocked that Naruto knew about Kushina being his mother. She was surprised that the boy had no resentment towards her because she never visited him despite being his mother's best friend. The boy had inherited his mother's kind heart, she mused. The only reason she hadn't visited him even when she knew he was suffering was because of Fugaku. He had prevented her from doing a lot of things in life. Most of her regrets had risen from having to obey him. In fact, now with her husband dead, as cruel as it sounded, she felt happy and free, for the first time since her marriage. After Naruto left, she had a lot to think about. Soon, Itachi would become clan head. The Uchiha clan never gave any position of power to women. So she would not become clan head. That was fine. Her son Itachi was a good choice for a clan head. The Uchiha clan would prosper under him. To be honest, had this happened a few years ago, she wouldn't have been surprised. The clan had been planning a coup 6 years ago. She knew the Hokage was aware. It was only a matter of time before the clan was exterminated by the Hokage's ninjas for the safety of the village. Back then her only fear was for the children in the clan. But the Hokage is a fair man, he would never harm children. That was when a golden opportunity was presented in form of the resealing. It was the genius idea of some stupid clan member to turn one of her children into a Jinchuriki. She was furious, but had no say in it. It was not the fact that she hated Jinchuriki or anything. In fact, her best friend had been a Jinchuriki, and she had known all along. It was the fact that the clan intended to use her child as a weapon that didn't sit well with her. There were two options in front of the clan. Either Sasuke or Shin. Sad as it is, the only reason they chose Shin was because he was expendable. The survival chance of the new Jinchuriki was very low, and Sasuke was a growing prodigy. His naturally strong chakra said he would have a Sharingan of greater potential, and he was a growing prodigy. If the resealing failed, they could not lose Sasuke, and even if the beast broke free, the combined power of all their Sharingan can subdue it. Or that was what the fools believed. She knew better. The number of Sharingan mattered not, if none had the advanced stage of it. It was this arrogant and power-hungry approach that caused her to hide her own Mangekyo, the result of having to kill her traitorous sensei during a mission, from them. She hoped and prayed that the Hokage doesn't allow Shin to become the Jinchuriki. But Hiruzen had been out of choice. From what she heard, none other had stepped forward to become a Jinchuriki, and her son had been too determined to prove himself to his father to back down. Hiruzen could not have forced any other to give up their child when one was willing to become the Jinchuriki. Danzo and the old crones had supported it, and she knew why. A Jinchuriki with Sharingan meant a Jinchuriki who could attain full control of the Bijou chakra with time. The lull of such a powerful weapon might have been too much. Danzo's followers and the civilians readily agreed, outvoting the opposition, if there was any. Things that occurred after Shin became Jinchuriki were out of her hand, but a lot of good things came out of it. She had been horrified when her husband announced her son's Jinchuriki status to the whole village, but her fears were put to ease when the people treated him as a hero. And even if anyone had any problem with her son, a few factors kept them subdued. The fact that the death of her child meant the release of Kyuubi was a fact that saved his life. People believed Shin would never be influenced by the beast due to the Sharingan. Also the fact that no one in their right mind would mess with the Uchiha, a powerful founding clan, also helped her son become the hero instead of a pariah. The fact that Naruto survived was icing on the cake. The coup was later discarded, because the Uchiha clan got the much-needed recognition from the villagers after the resealing. Whether it was fear that the Uchiha now had the power of a demon, or gratitude that the Uchiha had prevented the fate of being a Jinchuriki from any of the civilians, children, she didn't know. But the village treated the Uchiha with rightful recognition and not isolation. But Fugaku then started ignoring her other two children. Instead of sadness she was relieved. Itachi would be much more relaxed without his father's pestering, and Sasuke-kun would be away from Fugaku's influence. Shinji had nothing to do with him even before, he was a bitter child. She used to pay a lot of attention to him to ease his pain of being ignored by his father for his prodigy brothers, but Shin was never happy. Once he became Jinchuriki, however, he began treating her and Sasuke. Itachi was out of his reach, like trash, and no one but Itachi cared. Maybe now that Fugaku is gone, her baby could see the light, she hoped, even though she knew it was too late. She had to visit the grave once she could move properly. She didn't care about the adults who died, most of them deserved it. The only ones she cared to pray for were the children. She had much to do once she got out of the hospital. That included dealing with a certain ex-Hyuga. 2 days later, the trio once again found themselves at the academy, waiting for the team announcements. Naruto kept fidgeting with a kunai, while Kayashiro and Yumiko were engrossed in 2 scrolls. To everyone's surprise, the Uchiha twins were also present. After all, it had been only a week since their family was murdered. Iruka came in with a proud smile. He then gave some speech about ninja life, responsibility and will of fire and stuff. Then came the team announcements. Team 7, Sasuke Uchiha, Shin Uchiha, and Sakura Haruno. There was shouting of true love and some insults thrown around. Sasuke was silently fuming in his seat. Shin was also scowling in displeasure. Yumiko was the only one who paid attention to other teams, but the boys only cared to pay attention when their team was called. Team 11, Naruto Uzumaki, Yumiko Uzumaki and Kayashiro Kazama. This brought on a new set of murmurs. Most were bothered about how Yumiko became an Uzumaki, while Kiba, who was jealous about a girl like Yumiko hanging with the losers and getting married to the same loser, proclaimed that the dead last were put together. Iruka was quick to correct the dog lover. No, Kiba. Those 3 are the top 3 students with perfect scores in every test. Naruto and Kayashiro have tied for the Rookie of the Year, and Yumiko is the Kunoichi of the Year. This caused almost everyone to look at the 3 of them in surprise. There were many protests of cheating, that was promptly ignored by the trio and Iruka. Iruka told them to wait for their sensei and left after wishing them luck. As soon as Iruka left, murmurs broke out. An annoyed Kiba jumped out of his seat and was about to go talk with Kayashiro and Naruto, when a red-eyed raven-haired Jonin Kunoichi entered the classroom, grabbing their attention. Following her, another Jonin entered, this time a male with black hair and beard along with deep brown eyes and a cigar dangling between his lips. I am Kurina Yuhi and I am sensei of Team 8. Team 8, please follow me, the red-eyed woman said and walked outside. Team 10 with me. The smoker drawled and followed Kurenai out the door. Team 7 and 11 remained seated. Shin was softly growling to himself about not being the rookie of year, and having to be put on a team with his useless brother, and pink-haired thing. A slight breeze of wind was all they felt. Yumiko's head snapped up as she sensed a very small flicker of chakra from an unknown source within the classroom. Naruto and Kaishiro followed her example. There at the center of the room was a beautiful woman. She had black hair with purple highlights that reached past her waist and long thick strands with small unruly bangs framing her forehead. Her eyes deep royal blue color, and contained a certain warmth, and she had the body of a goddess. Her ruby-red lips were curled in a gentle and pleasant smile as she observed the three that was now staring at her. She was wearing a black dress shirt with the top 2 buttons open revealing a little of her amazing cleavage, and khaki pants. She also had a pair of black high-heeled shoes on. There were no visible weapons, although that did nothing to fool the trio, as they themselves kept all weapon including kunai hidden in the multiple storage seals along their arms. If it wasn't for the forehead protector with the leaf insignia that was tied snugly in her waist like a belt, they would not have taken her for a ninja. They couldn't feel any chakra from the woman at all, so they weren't as easily fooled. Team 7 was yet to notice the extra presence in the room. Training ground 29, the woman said, looking directly at the trio, and by the time Team 7 looked up, she had vanished like a ghost. Yumiko, Naruto and Kaishiro looked at each other and nodded, and then they vanished in a shunshin. Who said that? Sakura said and looked around. Hey! They are gone. Shin and Sasuke looked back to see that Team 11 had vanished. They appeared a little away from training ground 29. It was an isolated training ground close to the forests, and had a small stream passing through it. They walked the rest of the way to the training ground. She could be a stealth specialist. I never felt her chakra, Yumiko said thoughtfully. Among the 3, Yumiko was the best sensor there is. Her sensing abilities were far beyond ordinary. They believed that her Hyuga gene must have expressed in such a way instead of the Byakugan. And when she had been blood adopted into the Uzumaki clan, her sensing ability had gone off charts. After all, the Uzumaki were great sensors naturally. She's good. That shunshin she used, there was no sound, no smoke, nothing. She appeared and disappeared like a ghost. That takes a lot of chakra control, Naruto said in amazement. It's perfect for stealth. Her dressing is also very strange for a shinobi. Those clothes didn't look they would allow much flexibility, or any flexibility for that matter. They look too restricting, and the material doesn't look much durable either, Kaishiro suggested. She would easily pass for a civilian with that appearance if it wasn't for the fact that we could sense no chakra at all. Even civilians have little chakra, and the absence of any chakra at all would cause suspicion. The ability to suppress chakra at its entirety is amazing. She could give a Hyuga a run for his money. They noticed that they had already reached the training field. The woman was sitting at the bank of the stream with her legs in the running water. Her shoes were placed beside her. She turned to look at them with a quiet smile. The conclusions you made are impressive for fresh genin. They were surprised that she heard what they talked about. I already know everything about you, and I don't feel like talking about myself to you. Only that my name is Yuzum Swearin. You may call me Yuzum Sensei. She had a bright smile on her face, a smile fitting for one named after the goddess of joy. Now come join me, she called out to them. She looked like a nice woman. They looked at each other quizzically, and then shrugged and took off their sandals before sitting beside her with their feet in the water. The trio had no idea what to say, but Yuzum Sensei started talking still with that gentle smile. I know that your teamwork is quite proficient. I heard a lot from the Hokage, so why don't you show me how good it is with that? She jumped out of the water and onto the other side of the bank and threw 3 kunai at them, even before they could blink. They tried to dodge by jumping out of the water as well, but tendrils of water kept them trapped where they sat. There was no time for a shunshin. The kunai came right in front of their face and exploded into neon pink paint and glitter, covering all 3 completely. They looked at their sensei in confusion, and at that moment, they didn't think that her smile was quite so pleasant. What followed was undeniably a very one-sided battle. We find Naruto bound and gagged on the ground with Yuzum sitting on top of him with that same pleasant smile which was honestly starting to creep out the trio. Kaishiro was hanging upside down from a tree branch with both ankles tied firmly to the branch. It wouldn't have been too bad had he been able to use chakra or didn't have a boulder tied to each hand. Yumiko had her hands tied up and was buried up to her waist in mud, all 3 still pink with sparkles, and add to the humiliation Yuzum smiling and braiding Naruto's long, currently pink, hair. The crazy woman had booby-trapped the entire training ground before they came. This was quite damaging to their pride as the prank masters. Yumiko stood up, much to Naruto's relief. You all look very comfortable, she giggled, earning 3 furious and desperate glares. Then her grin turned positively evil. This is retribution, you brats, for all the times you pranked the Umbu HQ, she announced with an evil laughter. The trio felt like whimpering. What happened to the gentlewoman they saw earlier? You 3 did an unforgivable crime to me by your prank. That stupid prank of yours made me lose my precious Pocky, and I never forgive you for that. They had no idea what to do other than sweat drop. Pocky? Really? What? Yuzum was broken out of her evil scientist mode by the muffled words. She took off the tape on Naruto's mouth, none too gently, earning a wince and glare. I said I apologize for our mistake, and apologies won't get you anywhere. She cut him off and was about to tape his mouth again when he frantically said, "I'll buy you Pocky." This caught her interest. "Yeah, we will buy you Pocky as an apology for a whole week," Yumiko added. It would be highly dangerous and humiliating for them if the crazy bitch kept attacking them every chance she got. "We are going to be the best of friends." The pleasant smile was back and they were too afraid to even creep out. 30 minutes later they were all cleaned and untied. Naruto was frantically trying to get his hair out of the multiple braids. "Now, it's time for a proper introduction, since I decided that I like you and that you are going to continue as my students. You already know my name. My likes are Pocky, pranking, teaching brats a lesson, getting on people's nerves and playing matchmaker. Oh, I also am a die-hard fan of yaoi." This caused Yumiko to squeal loudly in approval and for the two nervous boys to edge away from the creepy women. "My hobbies are pretty much the same as my likes. My dislikes are people who threatens my Pocky, a well-placed glare, stuck-up people who make fun of me, and my likes, yaoi haters. Hey, if they don't like it, they don't have to diss it," she added as an afterthought. "My dream is to I really don't have one. I know you already guessed it, I was an umbu. I specialize in infiltration and stealth and genjutsu. I have a bloodline similar to the Uzumaki chakra manipulation, but I am not related to Uzumaki. My element happens to be water, lightning and wind." They nodded in amazement. "Our training starts tomorrow. Be here at 5 a.m. tomorrow. In case you want to know, I set 200 traps to cover the entire training ground, and surprisingly, you only triggered 94 of them and only got caught in 23 of them. This is quite good, considering trap making is also one of my strong points." The three of them were staring wide-eyed at their sensei. "Now I have to go report to the Hokage and I leave it up to you to clean the training ground. Disable the traps and remove them." They nodded slightly annoyed and then she added with a smile, "You will make one fine team, kids. Oh, and no shadow clones." With that she vanished, missing 2 groans and a muttered "Fuck you, crazy bitch." Team 11 passed with flying colors. Hokage-sama. The Hokage looked confused but smiled anyway. "That's good and all, but wasn't the tests are supposed to be tomorrow?" This earned a blush and a sheepish chuckle. "I might have got a little too excited." The Hokage's only reaction was a chuckle. "I have a lot of expectations from that team, Hokage-sama." "Me too, Swearin-san." A shrill cry of an alarm rang across the clearing. The occupants of the training ground paused in their activities and got ready to leave for the next mission. "Wow, it's already 12.30, Yumiko announced surprised. Naruto finished the last of his cool-down exercise. Kayashiro silently sealed back both his katana. "Well, come on my minions, we will first have lunch and then go get a mission from Hokage-sama," Yuzum announced with enthusiasm. It has been like this for 1.5 months. Ever since they passed Yuzum's test, she had put much effort in their training. Yuzum was a demanding sensei. This helped them improve to much higher levels in the past 1.5 months. On their first day of training itself, she had told them what she expected of them, and what she planned to do with them. Flashback. Naruto, Yumiko and Kayashiro stood at training ground 29 at precisely 5 a.m. Yuzum, who was resting on a tree branch, jumped down once her genin entered the training ground. All 3 of them had been surprised. It surprised them how she managed to suppress her chakra to such levels. They knew she had massive amounts of chakra, from the time she fought them during the test. "Good, you are here on time. Punctuality is something I value very much. Making someone wait without a valid reason is equal to disrespecting them." All 3 nodded in agreement. "From today onwards we will be doing missions and training as Team 11. I have a lot of expectations from the 3 of you and I'll not settle for anything less. As you know, in 6 months there is going to be another Chunin exam. And I plan on entering you and making sure that you make yourselves Chunin." Yuzum's stern expression grew pleasant as she received 3 determined nods. Although surprised, the 3 genin took the news happily. "I know about your individual training and your current levels are very satisfactory. Here is how our schedule goes. Our training starts at 5 in the morning. The afternoons will be spent doing D-rank missions. We will do 2 missions a day and I will try to make them a little more interesting for you." They knew what D-rank missions are. They had seen many genin running around cleaning up after many of their pranks, so they were not that much enthusiastic, but seeing the look on their sensei's face, maybe normal D-ranks won't be so bad. Yuzum had to hold in a sadistic chuckle seeing the apprehensive look on the face of her minions. "I will be working with each of you separately. Monday mornings, training will be for Naruto only, Tuesdays for Yumiko and Wednesdays for Kayashiro. On those days we will meet up at Himiko's restaurant for lunch. The rest of the mornings will be for team training. After the D ranks, I'll have you spar against each other. Then you can go home and train if you want, but I want you at full energy every morning, got it? And remember, each of you will have 2 days without morning training. I know you will use that time responsibly," she said, remembering about Naruto's training at the hospital, Yumiko's taijutsu spars with Rock Lee and Kayashiro's kenjutsu spars with Hate and Yugao. "Tomorrow is Monday and we will start this schedule from tomorrow onwards. For today you will be doing something else. Try not to trigger too many traps this time." That was the last thing they heard before an explosion sent them flying into the woods and the awaiting traps. Flashback ends. That afternoon Team 11 had showed up at the Hokage Tower for missions with the 3 of them covered in red paint and white feathers, and with some twigs and leaves decorating their heads. Yuzum refused to let them wash up or even use a henge. Every ninja who saw them on the streets or at the tower had a field day. The day the prankster devils got pranked. Luckily they didn't know about the day before. Yuzum was very polite and gentle whenever someone else was around. She only showed her creepy sadistic prankster side to them, although it shocked them the first time. They kind of got used to it. She proved that she was a demanding sensei. During individual training days she worked with them on their weaknesses and sparred with them. During team trainings she mostly gave them mock missions with the help of some other jonin or chunin who loses a bet with her or owes her a favor. The mock missions were done without any prior warning to increase their responses. She also covered the training ground with traps almost every day and changed training ground often to add variety to her traps. She had become the pranking god for the trio. After a month, Team 11 had become observant enough to escape every single trap with their pride unscathed. She even used the D-rank missions to train them. If it was a delivery mission she would double, or even triple their gravity seals and make them travel without touching the ground. One time they were working on the roof of some old woman's house and she started throwing kunai at them. It was made of her chakra and would dissipate harmlessly if it touched anything other than her 3 minions so as not to cause property damage. All in all it was an interesting time. Now they were going to get AC rank for being good minions as per Yuzum. It seems that Team 11 has completed their D rank requirements for requesting AC rank, the Hokage said with a smile. The team looked quite proud of themselves. They had completed 72 D rank missions, while suffering from Yuzum's sadistic quirks. This was a matter of pride itself. Iruka gave them a small smile. He had no doubt about the abilities of this particular team. After all, he himself had been part of one of their mock missions. Iruka would never forget the beating he got from the 3 of them while he was disguised as an enemy ninja. Iruka handed AC rank scroll to the smiling Hokage. It's an escort mission to the Land of Waves. Bring in the client. The client that came in was not really up to their expectations. These are the ninjas that are supposed to protect me? I asked for ninjas, not brats. And that woman looks too kind to actually be a ninja. Their annoyance at the first sentence was cut off by the drunkard's last statement. Naruto scoffed before looking away, while Yumiko shook her head. Kayashiro looked amused. I suggest that you not insult my team, Tazuna-san. They are competent to complete this mission successfully. Yuzum said with a sweet smile that her minions had come to fear. But it didn't help to change the drunkard's opinion of her. So the man just scoffed. Well, I am the super bridge builder Tazuna. You brats should protect me with your lives. If Yuzum was angry, she was very good at hiding it, so she just smiled. For some reason, Naruto had a bad feeling about this. The drunkard's emotions were all over the place, but he could not sense any ill intent towards any of them, aside from the fact that the man was very nervous and scared behind his boisterous exterior. The man was not harmful, at least not intentionally. Is something wrong? Kayashiro asked Naruto quietly. Nothing yet. The conversation was caught by both Yumiko and Yuzum. Yumiko frowned slightly. Naruto was walking to the gate to meet up with his sensei and team. Kayashiro had gone to get some supplies that he was lacking. Yumiko had gone to meet up with Lee and tell him that she won't be available for the spars. The 3 of them had agreed to meet up at the gate in time for the mission. They still had about 15 minutes left before the mission starts. So he was taking a leisurely walk towards the gate. He smiled when he sensed a familiar presence approaching. He may not be as good as Yumiko, but he was still a good sensor. Hello, Aunt Mikoto. He greeted the woman with a smile. He had started calling her that after the woman requested it, saying that Kushina was like her sister, and she had every right to be an aunt. He often visited the woman when she was in the hospital. His friends visited her a few times as well, and needless to say, they got along very well. They had stopped visiting her after she was moved to the Uchiha compound to prevent running into Shin. Other than him, all remaining Uchiha enjoyed the company of the trio. Naruto could sense the anger boiling inside Shin every time he saw any of them together, so they stopped visiting so as not to cause any more family problems, and since Mikoto had been confined to the bed and they had been busy with training, they didn't get much chance to meet each other. You look good, Naruto-kun, Mikoto said with a soft smile. Did Sasuke let you out of house arrest? Naruto asked with a chuckle. Ever since Mikoto was released from the hospital, Sasuke had gone ballistic every time she tried anything remotely strenuous. Well, Akemi-chan had to convince him that I am fully healed. I've been looking for you the past week but couldn't really get time to speak with you properly. Are you busy now? Naruto understood from the seriousness in the woman's voice that whatever she had to say, it was very important. If she hadn't been hiding her emotions so well, Naruto would have detected the traces of nervousness as well. Actually, I have AC rank mission in about 10 minutes. It will take us almost a month to get back. Oh. Mikoto visibly deflated. Well, then I'll have to wait till you get back. Congratulations on your C rank mission, Naruto-kun. Tell Kyo-kun and Yumi-chan as well. I will. Naruto smiled, still confused by what Mikoto had to say that was so serious. Then to his immense surprise she pushed a scroll into his hand. The scroll contains some homemade food. You can enjoy it on your journey. Remember to share it with your friends, okay? Mikoto said with a wide smile. Oh, I will, Aunt Mikoto. Take care, bye. Naruto said and walked away as Mikoto left in the other direction. As he neared the gate, Naruto could no longer sense the person that had been watching them when they were talking, so he casually took out the note that Mikoto had slipped into his pocket when she hugged him. The scroll contains a secret I've held close for a long time. If I am incapacitated in any way once you return, I want you to open the scroll, otherwise I want to tell you and your friends everything myself. It never hurts to have a backup plan. We are ninjas after all. Naruto frowned and sealed the scroll into his wrist. Kayashiro reached just in time to see Naruto reach the gate as well. Yumiko came not a second later. Yuzum was already there along with the client, who seemed to be drinking a lot more than yesterday, and was more nervous as well. Right on time. Yuzum announced with a smile when all of her team were present. Let's begin, shall we? Mother, I am home. Sasuke said softly as he entered the house. Oh. You are early? Did Kakashi cancel training today? Mikoto asked with a smile. But her smile turned upside down when her other son just went inside without even looking at her. Shin was becoming worse by the day and it scared her. He never talked to any of them anymore. At first he used to talk to Itachi, but only to ask, more like demand for training. He was getting power-hungry and revenge-driven. Itachi had refused, saying that Shin needed to change his attitude before getting any more power. Since that day, Shin stopped talking to even Itachi. Mikoto tried several times to bring his son out of this destructive path, but her effort was brutally rejected every time by Shin. Shin was disrespectful and hateful towards all three of them. Sasuke was not tolerant to Shin mistreating Mikoto, and it ended in a clash between the brothers. They hate each other now. Mikoto tried and failed to bring her family together. It seemed that Fugaka had damaged Shin much more than she thought. It didn't help that the civilian council suck up to Shin like leeches. Itachi, the current clan head, and Mikoto were out of their limit of influence, so they approached Sasuke and Shin. Among them, Shin was more easily influenced, and they took advantage of that. They gave Shin a high pedestal and encouraged his thirst for power. She knew that they were after the Uchiha fortune. For all the talk about the revival of the Uchiha clan, they just wanted their daughters, and even some males in Mikoto's case. Proposals that had been brutally turned down by Itachi and physically attacked by Sasuke, married into the wealthy clan. Shin was the most susceptible target. Itachi was taking extra care to keep those civilians off of Shin's back, but without Shin's cooperation it was a difficult task. Mother, is that tomato pie? Sasuke asked, effectively snapping Mikoto out of her depressive thoughts. Mikoto couldn't really hold back her giggle at the sight of his pleased grin. She totally understood that the craving for tomato when she was pregnant with the twins was definitely from Sasuke. Sasuke didn't even wait for a reply as he hurried to wash up and devour the tomato pie. Mikoto laughed at her son's antics. She knew Sasuke was doing this to make her happy, and because he almost had a soul bond with tomatoes, and it was working. As he ate the pie smiling, pleased with both the fact that his mother was smiling and with the fact that the pie was delicious, Sasuke told her how Kakashi blew them off again with some crazy excuse. He wouldn't really dare act like this in front of anyone except his mother, before the massacre. Shursui was the only one who could really make him act like a kid sometimes. Shursui's loss taught him a lot. Have you seen Naruto lately, mother? I've been looking for a decent sparring partner, and I can't find any of the three. Sparring with Sakura is so I don't even know what to say, Sasuke growled. Naruto, Yumiko and Kayashiro had become his constant sparring partners over time. Sasuke's first lesson at humility was when he was beaten so thoroughly by someone he used to call a dope. The four of them had become good friends after that. Oh, I saw Naruto this morning actually, but I don't think any of them would be able to spar with you. Mikoto said. What? Why not? They have AC rank mission and will be out of the village for a month. Mikoto said. Huh? AC rank? They got AC rank? Why the hell are we stuck doing D ranks? Kakashi! That lazy pervert. Sasuke was outraged. Mikoto laughed at her son's antics. Sasuke sure knew how to lighten her day. Behind the doorway, Shin stood silently fuming. He left the room with a huff when he heard Itachi announcing his return. He needed to get stronger, and if the white-haired Sharingan thief was not going to train him, he will train himself. With that in mind, he entered his father's study. No one else in the household ever used it anymore. Only Shin did, and only he knew what all was kept inside here as well. Yumiko was the first one who noticed. After all, she was the censor of the group. She had her eyes closed in concentration so as to increase her range and clarity of sensing. She signaled her teammates almost a mile before the actual confrontation. Her teammates and sensei caught the signal. Strange, Yuza muttered, what are ninjas doing here? This might not have anything to do with them at all. The ninjas ahead could be waiting for someone else, or they could be rogues who took on stealing as a new profession. She signaled her genin to not do anything unless provoked. With luck, they could avoid this without any unnecessary fight. Tazuna was blissfully unaware of this silent conversation. You got to be kidding me, Naruto muttered exasperated as he saw the puddle. Kayashiro nodded in agreement. Yumiko only snickered with her eyes still closed. What are you talking about? Tazuna asked confused. Nothing important, Yuzum said with a sigh. So they must not be waiting for them after all. They could only be expecting to trap a civilian with such a poor trick. Then her eyes strayed to Tazuna. A moment of doubt. Tazuna-san, did you tell anyone else about hiring ninjas? Huh? Oh, a few people at Wave knew, including my family. The man was still confused but was more nervous, which all four of them noticed. I see, Yuzum said. If the unknown ninjas in the puddle were waiting for Tazuna, then either they didn't know about Tazuna hiring ninjas or they expected to catch 3 genin and a jonin with that trick. If the case was the latter, it would be insulting. When the demon brothers jumped out of the puddle and ripped Yuzum into pieces, she had only one thought in mind: this is insulting. One Dao the guy didn't get to finish before a white chakra chain wrapped around him and promptly smashed him into a tree and knocked him unconscious. The other brother, who was surprised for a moment, jumped into action seeing his brother incapacitated. "You little bastard," he screamed as he saw the blonde-haired boy controlling the chain. The boy had no time to react as Gozu used his full speed and sunk his poisoned claw into the blonde's stomach. The blonde coughed out blood and his teammates let out a scream of despair. As the blonde fell, Gozu turned to the cowering girl and frozen red-headed boy. Then he saw his target cowering behind the pathetic kids. "Hand over the bridge, builder, or you will suffer the same fate as your friend and teacher," Gozu said arrogantly. "So you were after Tazuna?" A voice echoed around the clearing, startling Gozu. His surroundings distorted and changed as Yumiko cancelled her genjutsu. Gozu found himself trapped within the white chakra chain coiled around him like a viper. His unconscious brother was in the same position. The blonde and his teacher who they had killed stood there, smirking. "Who sent you?" Yuzum asked sweetly as she moved closer to Gozu and cupped his chin with her palm gently. "You can do whatever you want, you bitch. But I won't talk. You think you are so smart, don't you?" She kept on smiling. She didn't even send chakra into her hand. She just shattered his jaw within her hand with brute strength alone. The sound of breaking bones didn't even make the 3 genin flinch, but Tazuna felt sick. Gozu's screams were cut short as he was knocked unconscious. She turned to Tazuna, who looked like he wanted to be anywhere but here. "Start talking, Tazuna-san, or you just saw what could happen." Her sweet smile now frightened the shit out of Tazuna. Once Tazuna was done explaining the situation, Team 11 contemplated on the next course of action. "According to protocol, since Tazuna has lied about the mission parameters, we should abandon the mission due to betrayal on part of the client," Yuzum said gravely. Tazuna started begging and crying, but Naruto said, getting all of their attention. "Tazuna didn't really know about Gato hiring ninjas, did you, Tazuna?" Tazuna vigorously shook his head. Yumiko and Kaishiro quickly caught up with their friend's idea. So Tazuna didn't exactly lie, he just thought that Gato would hire only thugs. "Right, Tazuna?" The gleam in Naruto's eyes made Tazuna nod. Yuzum chuckled. "In that case, it would be disrespectful to abandon mission due to an unexpected rise in difficulty. So the right course of action would be to send a message to the Hokage and continue the mission, not to mention the fact that Wave could become a great trading ally once the bridge is built." Kaishiro added. "Well, that tips the scales in your favor, doesn't it, Tazuna?" Yuzum couldn't really stop her laugh. Thank you, my daughter and grandson will be eternally grateful to you." Yeah, let's just get going," Kaishiro said with a smirk. Yuzum nodded. She bit her finger and did a quick chain of hand signs before slamming her palm on the ground. A puff of smoke appeared. Once the smoke cleared, a dove with a plume of royal blue feathers became visible. "What can I do for you, milady?" the dove asked. "It talks," Tazuna shouted. The dove gave the old man a curious look. Naruto and Yumiko snickered. "Ran, I want you to relay a message to Hokage-sama." Yuzum wrote a scroll and handed it to the dove now named Ran. Ran clutched the scroll in its talons. "Of course, milady," the dove said with a slight bow. "It's good to see you again, young lord and lady." Ran greeted Naruto and Yumiko respectfully. "Likewise, Ran," Naruto answered with a chuckle. He had long ago given up on trying making the doves call them by their names. The doves were very respectful towards Yuzum, and as her students they received the same respect. "Lord Kaishiro." Ran bowed deeply to Kaishiro. Summons always automatically recognized spirit guardians as such and had deep respect towards them. Kaishiro nodded respectfully. Ran spread his wings and disappeared from sight, taking off at high speeds towards Konoha. Yuzum sent a meaningful look towards Yumiko, who nodded. "Come on guys, let's go," Yumiko said, and they moved. "Hey, what about your sensei?" Tazuna asked, seeing that Yuzum stayed behind. "She has some business to take care of," Naruto said calmly, and Tazuna kept quiet after that. Yuzum joined them, 15 minutes later, with a scowl. She made eye contact with her genin and nodded grimly, conveying a silent message. All of them tensed. Their next fight is going to be troublesome. She then carefully sealed the scroll containing the head of the demon brothers and a seal on her belt. "Sandame Hokage." Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned as he read the message from Yuzum. The Hokage thought about the situation for a while. He had no doubt about the abilities of Team 11. The 3 genin were exceptionally talented and Yuzum was one of his top Anbu. The only reason she didn't become Anbu commander was because she had refused. While that was the case, it is better to be safe than sorry. Kakashi had requested AC rank for his team for the next day since none was available for the day. Hiruzen nodded. Although backup was unnecessary, it might give Team 7 the experience they sorely need. The mist was thick as they walked closer to their destination. "We are almost there," Tazuna said with a little bit of relief. The genin and their jonin sensei never let their guards down. As they neared, the fog cleared and sparkling blue surface of the ocean came into view. It was the first time Naruto and Yumiko had seen the ocean. Despite being mature for their age, a spark of childlike excitement bubbled through them at the sight of the vast blue ocean. Someone is up ahead, Yumiko said. Oh, that's just our ride, Tazuna said as a man with his motorboat came into view. Good to see you again, Tazuna. And you have brought the ninjas with you. Are you sure they are enough? The boatman was a little disappointed at the sight of 3 children and a woman. I am more than confident in their abilities, Kenshi, Tazuna told the man with conviction. Soon, they were traveling across the ocean through the boat. Is that the bridge, Tazuna-san? It is marvelous, Naruto said as the mist gave way to let them view the still unfinished structure. Yes, that is our hope, the old man said with pride. So it seems that you are good for something other than being a drunkard. Kaishiro's comment caused Tazuna to drop his head. Yumiko snickered. Once they reached the shore, Kenshi left quickly after thanking the ninja for agreeing to help. They walked forward once again. Tazuna was becoming much more relaxed and happy as his home neared. Sensei! Yumiko's alarmed whisper caught their full attention. The team tensed knowing what was coming next. How many? Yuzum asked. 2. Yumiko answered. Their levels? Kaishiro asked as he prepared to unseal Senshi and Tamashi at moment's notice. One is High Chunin. The other one is too adept at chakra suppressing, so I assume she is High Jonin. That must be Zabuza and his mysterious accomplice that the demon brothers told me about. How long till we reach them? If we keep this pace up, 30 minutes. They were yet to stop walking so as to prevent tipping their enemy off. They seem to be waiting for us. Good. Everyone get ready, you know the plan. Yuzum spoke quietly. Sensei, there's one more thing, one of the chakra signatures, it feels different. Different how? Kaishiro asked. It just feels different, but I can't pinpoint what it is. Yumiko's eyebrows furrowed in concentration. A bloodline. It's a bloodline, at least I think so. This is going to be trouble. Naruto muttered. Can you identify it? No, it's not one I have encountered before. But it is an elemental bloodline. It doesn't matter. We should stick with the plan. Sensei? Kaishiro commented. Kaishiro's right. Stay on guard, everyone. Yuzum said. I have a mission for you, the Hokage said without preamble as Team 7 entered the office. Kakashi requested for AC rank, but seeing as none was available, I couldn't give him one. But now I have one. Sasuke, Sakura and even Shin looked at their sensei surprised. Sure, they had completed the necessary 31D ranks to request AC, but Kakashi had told them that they need more experience. But there was no denying that they were excited at the prospect of a better mission than those chores. You are to provide backup to Team 11, they have run into some unexpected trouble. The way the Hokage said unexpected made them think that there was some sort of inside joke. Are they alright? Kakashi and Sasuke asked worried, though only very, very observant people could detect the concern. After all, one was an Uchiha and the other was a carefree pervert. From the message they sent, none of them were injured. I am confident in their abilities. The Hokage puffed out some smoke from his pipe. This is your mission scroll. The Hokage tossed the scroll towards Kakashi, who caught it. This scroll is to be given to Yuzum Swearin. The Hokage gave Kakashi another scroll, this one red with golden edges, an A-rank mission, Kakashi knew. The team bowed and left to pack for the journey. Everyone get down. Yuzum shouted and pulled Tazuna down with her. A giant sword struck the tree near them and embedded itself in the tree. The executioner's blade. Yuzum said, staring at the sword. Oh, so you recognize the sword, eh? The man that appeared on top of the sword said in a smug voice. Zabuza Momochi. Zabuza chuckled at the panic he heard in Yuzum's voice. You know me as well, but I haven't heard of you well. I'll make this quick. Hand over the bridge builder and I'll let you and your brats go. So what do? He didn't get to finish as a kunai was sent towards his head, courtesy of Yuzum. He easily caught the kunai at the handle. He looked at the kunai and the beautiful woman who threw it. That wasn't very. He was again cut off as the kunai in his hand exploded in his face. Zabuza was sent flying through the tree. Yuzum smirked. She mentally thanked Naruto for adding the explosion seals to the kunai. It was a brilliant idea from Naruto. Writing the seals on the kunai, instead of tags. Ninjas wouldn't notice it until the explosion hits due to the absence of tags. Unless you count sensors that could sense the minute amount of chakra in the kunai. That bitch is going to pay, Zabuza thought as he got up. He had taken some damage due to the point-blank explosion, but he had shielded himself using chakra at the last minute. He, the demon of the mist, would die rather than let some no-name jonin walk over him like that. Thick chakra-laced mist filled the area as Zabuza used his signature jutsu. Yuzum tensed, preparing for the battle. She couldn't even see her own team, but she knew that they were doing according to the plan. Naruto nodded to Yumiko and Kaishiro, who was holding Senshi and Tamashi. Kaishiro nodded and stepped towards Yuzum while Naruto made 4 clones that stood around Tazuna and started a chain of hand signs. 4-point barrier seal. The clones slammed their palm on the ground in front of them with a barely audible mumble. A violet shimmer appeared on the air before vanishing. The barrier had been erected successfully, with Tazuna and Yumiko and the 4 clones holding the barrier, safely inside. The real Naruto outside the barrier nodded to Yumiko inside and disappeared from sight. Yuzum went through a chain of hand signs at blind speed and announced her jutsu, wind release. Great breakthrough. A violent wave of wind passed through the clearing, removing the mist. As the mist cleared, Zabuza became visible as he descended on Tazuna with his executioner's blade. The blade hit the barrier. The barrier rippled a moment, and repelled Zabuza's attack with enough force to dispel Zabuza, showing that he was a water clone. Kayashiro brought up Senshi and Tamashi in a cross to block a sword slash from Zabuza, who appeared next to them. Zabuza was surprised to see the brat holding up against him. This team seems to be full of surprises. His mist was gone. This fight is getting annoying. Zabuza had to jump back to avoid getting his head smashed by a chakra-enhanced punch from Yuzum. He quickly made a water clone to deal with the red-haired brat while he dealt with the Jonin. Yuzum narrowed her eyes and moved her hands in a familiar pattern. Deep blue chakra became visible and shaped into a dragon before it launched towards Zabuza at full speed. Zabuza tried to block, but in the end got hit by the dragon. Haku was worried when Zabuza had gotten blasted with that explosion. He was thinking of joining in, when his senses went into override and he jumped away from the tree branch he was sitting in. A kunai hit the branch he previously occupied. "Hello there," announced the cheerful voice of his attacker. Haku looked up and saw the blonde boy from the team. "Are you here for Zabuza Hunter Nin?" That's when Haku remembered that he was still in his Hunter Nin attire. So he wordlessly nodded, surprised that the blonde had sensed him. "Then why are you not attacking him instead of sitting here and watching?" "I was waiting for the right opportunity," Haku said softly. He didn't want to fight unnecessarily, and if he kept up this charade he could help Zabuza if things get tricky. "You are lying. I was hoping that you were an actual Hunter Nin and that I wouldn't have to fight you," Naruto said, sighing. He soon jumped back, allowing the ice Saban to harmlessly hit the branch he was standing on. "Ice release, huh? Well, that proves that you are not a Hunter Nin," Naruto mumbled, remembering about Mist's bloodline wars. "I do not want to fight you, but I will do it for Zabuza-sama, forgive me," Haku said before launching another batch of ice needles. The Naruto that the needles hit puffed out of existence. Haku was thrown to the ground from the kick that was delivered to his back. He flipped during mid-journey and sped through hand signs. Ice release. Frostbite. The icy mist that was released from the jutsu froze anything that it came in contact with. Naruto used a shunshin to get away from the jutsu and appeared where Haku was about to land and did his own hand seals. Wind release. Gale palm. Haku had no time to react as the blasts of wind hit him dead on, and he was sent flying into the clearing where Zabuza was fighting Yuzum and Kayashiro. Zabuza was startled when Haku landed on the clearing. Yuzum took the chance and sent another jutsu at Zabuza. Water release. Water dragon. Zabuza narrowly avoided the dragon and moved forward to slash at her. Yuzum ducked under the slash and pressed her palm against Zabuza's stomach. Lightning release. Lightning strike. Zabuza flew back and into the water after getting electrocuted. Kayashiro, fighting against the Zabuza clone, ducked under another slash and swiped Senshi at the clone. When the clone blocked Senshi, he spun around and slashed with Tamashi from the other side, causing Zabuza to sidestep. Kayashiro jumped back and crossed his swords in front of him in an X shape. Pouring chakra into the swords, he called out, "Retribution." Cross-shaped blast of deep red energy exited the swords and hit the Zabuza clone, dispelling it instantly. Kayashiro then turned his attention to where Naruto was fighting Zabuza's accomplice. He then joined Naruto in fighting. Kayashiro attempted to hit Haku with a downward slash, but Haku dodged it and threw more ice Saban at them. Both Naruto and Kayashiro jumped out of the way of the needles. "You are strong," Haku said. "I have no choice but to use that jutsu." Kayashiro and Naruto had no idea which jutsu he was talking about, but they knew it won't be good. But Haku had already done his part. Demonic ice mirrors. Haku called out the name of the jutsu. A dome of ice mirrors was built around Kayashiro and Naruto. Haku entered one of the mirrors. They dodged the first hail of Saban, but the next one that came from behind them was too fast for them to dodge. Haku was jumping from mirror to mirror, trying to turn them into pincushions. "Shit!" Kayashiro cursed as he dodged another volley of Saban. "Uzumaki!" The whisper that sounded from right behind him sent Naruto into a sudden panic. His momentary state of surprise was exploited by the enemy as he felt multiple needles entering his body. "Naruto!" Kayashiro called out, worried. He swung his sword in a full circle, blocking more Saban. "Uzumaki!" There was that whisper again. Naruto wildly looked around. Legacy. Time seemed to slow down as another volley of Saban sped towards Naruto. For some reason, Naruto felt like he was out of his body. Everything was moving so slow. Descendants of the Third, Guardians of the Seven, Legacy of a God, the heart of the blessed shall light the world. Open your eyes and welcome your destiny. Uzumaki Namike Sora Naruto. A sharp pain coursed through Naruto's head. He had never felt such pain before. The scream that pierced the air startled everyone. Zabuza took advantage of the opening and kicked Yuzum in the chest, sending her crashing into the shore. The four clones maintaining the barrier dispersed into smoke. Tazuna and Yumiko were worried. "Heh, it looks like Haku took care of that blonde brat of yours." Zabuza chuckled as he sped towards Tazuna at maximum speed. He then backhanded Yumiko, who tried to stop him. She was thrown aside. Zabuza brought his sword down. Haku looked at the scene before him in shock. He had no idea what had happened to the blonde boy. He knew without a doubt that the second barrage of Saban he sent would hit Naruto for sure. The boy was not in a position to even move. But before any of the Saban could hit, the red-headed boy had used the body replacement technique to replace himself with the blonde boy. So the redhead ended up getting showered by Saban instead of his friend. Now looking at the downed form of the two boys, Haku couldn't help but pity them. At least he wouldn't have to kill them now. His musings, however, were cut short, as the red head that had taken the hit turned out to be a clone. Crimson Abyss, a shout rang inside the ice dome, and a wave of blinding red energy exploded inside the dome, completely destroying the dome. Haku was thrown out of his mirror. His clothes were burned and he knew that he had taken some serious damage, by the smell of the burning flesh. Lucky for him, his attacker didn't seem to care about him anymore. Kayashiro stood panting after the last attack. He had put a shitload of chakra into that one attack. Uncaring of his tiredness, he rushed over to Naruto, who was slumped on the ground with eyes wide open in agony. "Naruto!" he shouted as he held him. Naruto seemed to be in shock. His eyes glazed over, indicating that he was not really aware. "Naruto!" Kayashiro shook him again, trying to snap him out of the daze. "It looks like we have completed our mission. Haku, let's get go," Zabuza announced smugly, and Kayashiro snapped his head towards his position. Zabuza looked like he was barely standing. His was bleeding from several places and his body was decorated with bruises and burns. Zabuza was standing there staring down at the body of the bridge builder, who had a large gash running horizontally across his chest, almost cutting him in half. Kayashiro knew he was dead. Haku appeared beside Zabuza and both of them vanished in a shunshin. Kayashiro sighed and looked down at Naruto to see that he was unconscious. He then carefully started to remove the samban. The wounds healed instantly. "What happened to him?" Yuzum asked as she stood next to Kayashiro, who lifted Naruto and settled him on his back to carry him. "I am not sure yet. But seeing how his chakra is raging inside him, I bet it has something to do with a clan heritage. I know he isn't hurt." "That's good. Things went as planned?" "It looks like Yumiko's clone got dispelled. She would know what happened." Yuzum nodded as she moved towards Tazuna's body and stomped on the ground after doing a few hand signs. "Earth release. Earth crumple." The soil collapsed and Tazuna's body sunk into the earth and the soil once again covered the area. "Let's go." And they took off towards Tazuna's house. Flashback. "Let's rest for some time. Tazuna seems tired," Yuzum announced. It had only been an hour after the confrontation with the demon brothers. They nodded. Here Naruto offered the old man some water. "It's not sake, so bear with it," he added, chuckling. "Thank you." Tazuna took the bottle and drank some. "Team," Yuzum got their attention. "From what I gathered from the demon brothers, we will be facing Zabuza and an accomplice of his soon." "Zabuza? As in, the demon of the bloody mist? That Zabuza?" Yumiko asked. "Anything more on this accomplice?" Kayashiro asked. "No. But we might as well assume that this accomplice is a jonin as well, so we will be up against possibly 2 jonin. It will be hard going up against the jonin, as well as guarding a civilian." Naruto frowned. Tazuna looked meek. He really appreciates them helping him, even when they had the choice of abandoning him. "Even if we manage to defeat them, things will only get more inconvenient as Gato will most probably try hiring stronger ninjas next time," Kayashiro said. "We need time. I have requested a special mission from Hokage-sama. We need time until I get authorization, and we should make sure that Gato wouldn't include any more missing nin to oppose us." The team had a pretty good idea what the special mission she requested for was, so they nodded to their sensei. "We could fool Gato into thinking that Tazuna is dead. Fooling Zabuza and his accomplice will be hard, but not impossible. We should tire them out enough so they won't notice anything wrong," Yumiko said. Yuzum nodded in approval. "We could use a blood clone. They won't disperse even if they are dead, so Zabuza won't notice," Naruto suggested. "And my blood clone could do the transformation. That way Zabuza won't detect a henge, since mine is solid transformation," Kayashiro added. "I'll add a seal to the clone so that the transformation won't wear off after the clone dies," Naruto said. Yuzum smirked. She was really proud of her team. "Good idea, team. By the time Gato figures out that Tazuna is not dead, I would get an official authorization from the Hokage and remember to damage Zabuza and his friend enough so that even if they figure out our ploy, they won't be able to attack us for some time." "Okay, sensei. But what are we going to do about the original?" Naruto asked, pointing towards Tazuna. "I'll take care of that," Yumiko said, and bit her thumb to make it bleed and started a chain of hand signs. She then slammed her palm on the ground. A large fox, size of a horse, with orange-brown fur and green eyes along with 3 tails appeared. "What can I do for you, Yumiko-chan?" the fox asked in a soft feminine voice. "Midori-chan, could you give the old man over there a lift?" Yumiko pointed at Tazuna. "I will if you can get me some teriyaki chicken," the fox answered, licking her paw absent-mindedly. "Sure," Yumiko drawled with a grin. "Is this all right, sensei?" Yuzum nodded, smiling. "Leave a reinforced shadow clone with us so that Zabuza don't get suspicious. Also take each of our clone with you as well. Burst one of them when you reach his house so that we will get the location. Have the Naruto clone place security and detection seals around the house. Also, use a genjutsu so that no one sees Tazuna or any of you for that matter, and thanks for the help, Midori-san. We will surely buy you teriyaki once we get back to Konoha." The fox nodded. "Hey Naru-chan, still as cute as ever." Naruto rolled his eyes. "Nice seeing you too, Midori." Then he yelped when one of her tails slapped his ass. He gave her a red-faced angry glare. "Don't be such a prude, Naru-chan." The fox giggled. "And hello there, Lord Kyo-kun, are you still in denial that you like Naru-chan's ass?" Kayashiro coughed, and turned his head away to hide a blush. "Me, Midori." Naruto was as red as Kayashiro's hair. Yumiko shook her head smiling and helped Tazuna get on the fox. She and the clones would travel at Jonin-level speeds. They should reach the house sooner than expected. Good luck, guys. Yumiko said. Flashback ends. What do you think happened? Tazuna asked, worried. They had reached the house safely. No one had spotted them. Kayashiro's clone had dispelled itself so that the original could get the location of the house. Yumiko and the clones met Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter. The beautiful young woman was very kind-hearted and caring. She had started preparing meals for the team that was arriving. Yuzume's clone went scouting while Naruto set up the security and detection seals. Tazuna-san, Tsunami-san, could you come here for a sec? I want some of your blood to finish the security seals since I assume none of you know how to use chakra. Naruto called out. Tsunami, who was in the kitchen, came to the living room where Naruto was working. What do you need me to do, Naruto-san? She asked, smiling. Naruto smiled back at her. I just need a drop of blood. It's fine with you, right? Of course, I am not afraid of a little of blood, Naruto-san. She said, chuckling. Naruto nodded and took out a kunai and nicked her finger. He then let the blood touch the seal. The seal glowed for a moment. Done, Naruto said as he let go of Tsunami's hand. Alright then, I'll be in the kitchen if you need me. With that she left for the kitchen once again. Hey, you drunkard, come here, Naruto announced, making Tazuna grumble and scowl. Kids no respect these days. Naruto snickered. He did the same he did with Tsunami. Careful, Naru, he probably has sake running through his veins instead of blood. Yumiko announced from the kitchen, where she was helping Tsunami. Naruto snickered again. There, the seal is done. Now I only need one more sample from your grandson. When will the boy be home? As if answering to Naruto, a little boy opened the door and entered the house. Mom, I'm back. That's when the boy noticed his grandfather. Grandpa. The boy hugged the old man. Inari, you are home, kiddo. This is one of the ninja who protected me on the journey. Tazuna said, pointing at Naruto. Inari looked at Naruto skeptically. Naruto could sense the doubt, anger, and above all sadness. Naruto fought to keep from frowning. Hello, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I am a ninja of Konoha. The boy stubbornly kept quiet. Inari, introduce yourself. Tazuna chided. Why? They're just going to die anyway. Yumiko scowled at the kid. Well, that's true, everyone dies one day, Naruto said with a shrug. Inari was about to walk away when Naruto grabbed his hand. What? The boy snapped. Chill, I just need some of your blood. The boy's eyes widened. What? Naruto rolled his eyes and wordlessly nicked the boy's finger. Ow. He then let the blood drop onto the seal. Done, Naruto said and channeled some of his chakra into Inari so that his wound vanished. Despite all his bitter feelings, Inari was still a kid and Naruto felt the bubbling curiosity and amazement. I'll go put these seals up now, Naruto said with a smile and was about to stand up when his eyes widened and he clutched his head in pain, before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Kid! Tazuna and Inari were surprised. What? Yumiko came into the room as she felt Naruto's clone's chakra disappear. What happened? Did you hit the clone or something? Yumiko asked, baffled. Her expression soon turned into worry as the memories of her own clone hit her. Did something happen? Tazuna was worried. I hope not, Yumiko said, worried. They'll be here soon. Inari silently went upstairs. Even though he said those things, he didn't really want any of them to die. What if Naruto takes only kushina inheritance? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.